What's wrong with you? I love God. You love God? What's wrong with you? I don't think that I can live no other way. You be told I'm living now on eight. Now to see them blessings in the modern day. The Lord I serve, give them to me every day. I'm forgiving. See, I've been forgiving, now I'm living. And when I say I love, I mean it. Cause that ain't me, I think it be coming. I love God. You love God? What's wrong with you? I love God. You love God? What's wrong with you?
Love him, I love him. Love him, I love him. Love him, I love him. Love him, I love him, I love him. Love him, I love him, I love him. Love him, I love him, love him.
You ain't got the money moving by yourself. You know you did it with a lot of air. You know it's only one, it ain't nobody else. You got me talking straight, I ain't ready to talk it well. I'm forgiving. See, I've been forgiving, now I'm living. And when I say I love, I mean it. I love that thing, I think it be coming. I love God. You love God? What's wrong with you? I love God. You love God? What's wrong with you?
Love him, I love him. Love him, I love him. Love him, I love him. Love him, I love him, I love him. Love him, I love him, I love him. Love him,
Wanted you to know, you know I do. Couldn't lost it all, you remember I do. No coming through you all, but we got you covered. Got to spend it all, to make me love you. I don't need a reason, you follow my reason. I'm not feeling my heart, let me know. You love God, what's wrong with you? I love God. You love God, what's wrong with you?
Love him, I love him. Love him, I love him. Love him, I love him. Love him, I love him, I love him. Love him, I love him, I love him. Love him, I love him,
Oh my God. Christian hip hop is very interesting to me. What's going on, Conscious crew? Can you guys hear me? Let me know what the audio is giving. Let me know what's Gucci. Okay. Give me a review on the audio as you guys coming in. Let me know what the audio is giving. Would be good. Conscious the entire studio look along with the host. Fire. Thank you. Look at you. Love it. Gam. With Jim 7 Angel. Thank you. Loud and clear. Okay, so I told you guys I had a new microphone coming in. So shout out to my tech and good friend Knockout Media. He is responsible for all of these suggestions. Okay, I was using the last microphone wrong anyway, and it was an microphone even when it was used correctly, but this mother lover here is amazing. I can't hear myself, so I have to hear it in replay, but you guys are saying great. Okay, so this is where y'all donations is going to. I told you all y'all donations is going to everything we need, honey. Okay, I got some business stuff I got to take care of when it comes to the brand, so that's where our focus and priorities right now is. Okay, it's getting the Consciouztv empire completely in order. Okay, on the front end and the mother loving back end. Okay, all right. So obviously, the month of October has passed, but I'm still in a very festive, witchy type of a mood. So I was like, you know what? Yeah, I think I'm going to do this. And this hair color is Sunset Orange by Arctic Fox. Them and Adore are the only hair dyeing brands that I use. I think Arctic Fox is vegan free, I believe. Okay. Orange is a very, very beautiful color. Like, my favorite colors are orange and green at this point. So yeah, all of that. But thank you. So we got almost 70 likes, but it's almost 200 of y'all in the building. So I'm gonna find another song selection while you guys get these likes up, because you guys know that thumbing up the video not only helps with the algorithm, but it totally triggers up the notification system. So as you guys thumbs up the video, more notifications will go out to a bunch of unsuspecting conscious crew members who are lying dormant right now and have no idea that we are live and in color. So I need you guys to thumbs up the video. Our goal is to always get 1K on each live stream. This is a free clearance rack, free 99 way to support the platform. It's simply by giving us your thumbs up. It makes all the difference in the growth of the platform. You guys see that we're celebrating subscribers every day, okay? We are almost at 40K, which I thought we wasn't going to hit until the end of the year, but we can hit 40K any day now. Any day now, we could hit 40K. So pretty exciting stuff, and I'm not doing this alone. You guys are directly contributing to the growth of the platform with your engagement, by sharing the content, and more importantly, subscribing and thumbing up the freaking video. So I thought I would play, the good Lord, considering this commentary. Okay, I said, let me see what Miss Eric Campbell had going on. But there's another song. I'm not a big fan of gospel. Gospel music to me sounded like slave music growing up. Something about just slaving over God, and I don't know. Gospel music made me feel like God was narcissistic, and that was just not my experience of God. So gospel never appealed to me, So I've always had a disconnection when it comes to gospel music. However, there are a few gospel songs that I really love. And on top of that joint by Miss Erica, there's another joint by Lexi called Burn It All Down. This song is just so freaking epic to me. I gotta bring it in close because I live for this song, okay? So while we guys are listening to another gospel selection, thumbs up this video. Please encourage all of those coming into the stream to thumbs up the video as well. Before I get started, no blocking. Don't block emojis. Don't block cuss words. Don't block anything. Just retire the block, okay? Because it's disturbing our engagement, and the things that are being blocked are not really worth blocking. If sex bots and stuff start flooding the chat, well, that's why I have moderators. So we'll just block that spam when it happens. But just allow people to rock and roll. Do not block people. Only block explicit, gutter snipe disrespect, okay? But everything else, just allow it to roll, okay? And once again, thumbs up as you're coming in.
Worship. And said that nothing else could have my love. I would dance before my King, and daily I would sing of your goodness and your mercy. My intentions have been pure, not straight, and my passion for your heart has been displayed. Bring me back to where I first believed in your light. Lord, I'm sorry for what I've become. Burn it all down, leave only you. Let nothing stand in the place of your truth.
You know what's so funny? This song is right on time. Burn it all down, because we're living in the age of Aquarius, and that's literally the whole era of the age of Aquarius, is to burn it all down. This is why you guys are seeing so much upheaval in our society. You're seeing so much social upheaval. Black lives matter, white lives matter, all lives matter, blue lives matter, LGBT rights, women's rights. You're seeing all of that. You're seeing a confrontation within the church. You're seeing confrontation that collapses of our governmental systems. You're seeing everything come under confrontation. You're seeing the collapse of Hollywood and the exposing of Hollywood, the exposing of the church. This era of the age of Aquarius is the exposing and information age, and it's designed to demolition through, so that we can put a fine-tooth comb over what we've created as a collective, decide what has been destructive, what has been unhealthy, who has been left behind in the wreckage of the type of society that we've created, and then recorrecting as a result of being able to sort through each piece. So while this era is very intense, it's violent, even scary, is also going to be the best of times as it is the worst of times. Okay? There's so much opportunity for us to start anew and to be great and to recreate from righteousness, or to continue to create a society from our ego and have us do this over and over and over and over and over again until we get it right. And none of us want that, okay? We're ready for a little bit of heaven on earth, but nonetheless, burn it all down. I concur. Metaphorically speaking. Well, circumstantially, if we need to burn this motherfucker down physically, we can do that too. I don't mind it either.
If my ambition blocks the path where you and if my drive directs my heart for destiny, what if I ever lose my way? And my own desire overtake me with your holy fire. Burn it all down, believe only you. Let nothing stand in the place of your truth. Hold them with me, feelings with me. All that's in me,
Hey, I love that song. I've had so many revelations of God listening to that song. So shout out to Lexi, okay? Welcome to the platform, you guys. So we have a lot going on today. I may be back with you guys after this commentary as well. I'll get into that in the church announcements coming. But once again, as you guys are coming in, please thumbs up the video. This helps with algorithm. This helps to trigger up the notification system as well as protect the stream. If you're new here, definitely subscribe, because if I like it, you're going to freaking love it here. Yes, you are. And you need to make sure that your notification bell is set to all, because you never know what day or hour the king, or some consider me a queen, the queen shall be kinging. Okay. And if you don't mind, please share the stream out wherever it is you have digital community. I know that we're going to have pretty much a nice little Christian audience in the building, so I'll try to keep it PG-13, okay, for the sake of those who really feel like cuss words are a real thing, okay? Cuss words are not a real thing. They are words, okay? Maybe more descriptive words than some, but language is language, okay? And all language is creative and for the sake of expression, you know. So in all lives matter, and can all words matter, including cuss words, okay? Can we rally behind cuss words? It's time for cuss words to come out of the demon-infused, slanderous box that they've been put in by conservative and religious folk and right-wing folk, okay? Because most of the powerful spiritual people in my life were cussing sailors, okay? Okay, you can't have no power unless you are a master at cussulations. 12 and 9, baby. Okay? Shout out to my mother Jennifer, honey. Okay, she taught me all about mystical ways of the cussing world, girl. Okay, but I'm gonna still try to keep it PG-13. All right? So with no further ado, let's go ahead and get into some things, you guys, and run this beautiful intro, which will be changing very soon. Okay.
I know a place where you can recharge your soul.
Baby, that's Consciouztv.
And in the midst of brokenness, he gon' see your asshole.
Baby, that's Consciouztv.
You gon' heal, you gon' laugh and catch a little shade.
Ooh, girl.
Y'all know he be slaying, y'all better stop playing. Come hear what he's saying.
Ladies and gentlemen.
All right, we are back. Shout out to Crystal for the Cash App. Thank you so much, love. Once again, shout out to Crystal for your Cash App. You guys know that all donation information is in the description box below. Also want to shout out Daryl. Oh, and my baby mother, Kiwana, baby, okay? You guys know that my birthday is this coming Tuesday, so yes, you know, you guys know you can throw them dollars if you want, if you're led and inspired, child, okay? Mostly all this is just going back into the brand. So thank you so much. God bless y'all for sowing y'all seed. And I'll be your old nasty piece of 37. Okay? Also, I may be coming back after this live. I will be bringing back one of y'all's favorites, Reckless Logic, okay? He might have some time for us tonight, girl. We're going to get into a very controversial conversation. This topic always sends the girls. So, yes, it's probably going to be a bunch of bald-headed hoe stuff going on in that commentary, child. We will be dropping the link and letting y'all sound off as we know you all do. And depending on how I feel about the end of this commentary, I may also drop the link so you guys can come and chime in on this as well. Now, what we're here to get into is a pastor by the name of Jameliah Gooden, okay? Now, I've been out of the church world, church culture, I should say, for almost a decade, okay? So I'm not familiar with, you know, a lot of these folk these days in the black church. However, Miss Jameliah Gooden is a pastor, and she does a series called Car Chronicles, I believe. And, you know, she inspires the folk and talks about financial prosperity. And, you know, she has kind of a down to earth, straight from the hip, auntie type of style about herself. Some consider her to be aggressive. Some consider her to be a little uncouth, okay, while others appreciate kind of the rambunctiousness and the passion and take no prisoners energy that Pastor Gooden provides, okay? Now, there's been a lot of controversy allegedly under Miss Gooden's name, okay? There's an incident about a year ago, I believe, between her and a musician at a church. We'll briefly go over that just to give some context of some of the things that she's the most known for, okay, which at this point, everybody pretty much got put on by their controversy, okay? That's just how, that's the type of stuff that goes viral. Unfortunately, you know, feeding 12 kids with your breast milk and, you know, giving good coochie to positive, you know, powerful black men is not the things that, you know, we are known for anymore. You know, it's disrespecting people, cussing folk out, being exposed, and, you know, the negativity is kind of what ushers us into the marvelous light. Okay, so Miss Gooden, or Pastor Gooden, is no secret girl. Okay, she's not shy of controversy. Allegedly, there's an incident at a church that she was invited to speak to, and the musician there, okay, the keyboardist, the minister of music, you know, he played his 2 selections that he was asked to play by the bass guitarist who invited him to the church. But Miss Gooden wanted him to kind of stick around to help be the instrumentalist, okay, to all of the raising of dead and supernatural phenomenon and laying of hands that, you know, she was doing, you know, in the Lord's house. And the pianist was not here for it, okay? He unplugged his equipment, packed up, you know, his goods, and hard ass on into the world of the devil, child, okay? And there was a lot of conversation around the way she handled that. Now, I'm going to let you guys hear a little bit from Larry Reid and from the pianist, the keyboardist, okay, who was involved in this situation, because allegedly he went live and spoke about the incident, etc. Apparently he was blocked by Pastor Gooden and her husband, and there was all of this and all of that. Well, Larry Reid had him call into his show about 9 months ago, so we're going to listen in and just get some context of that, and then we're going to bring it back up to speed with the next video that Miss Gooden went viral for. Now, I did try to find this video. I searched high and low. I couldn't find the video. At one point in time, it was on YouTube, but I don't see it anymore. So you guys will just get the verbal description of what took place. And once again, remember to thumbs up the video. And this footage is courtesy of my mentor and good friend, Larry Reid Live. Make sure that you subscribe and give him an old nasty piece of like. He does phenomenal work over on his platforms on Instagram, Facebook, Patreon, and YouTube as well. Okay, so let me share my screen. Let me make sure I ain't got nothing ungodly up here first, girl. Okay. Make sure I ain't got nothing ungodly up here, girl. Hold on. Let me see here. Okay, let me share this old nasty piece of screen, child. Matter of fact, let me just go ahead and run my old nasty piece of disclaimer, and then we shall return.
Copyright disclaimer: under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Non-profit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use.
All information discussed on this platform is alleged. The term fair use designates the acceptable use of copywritten materials without obtaining specific permission from the holders of the copyright. Fair use is generally granted for the purposes of comment, criticism, research, teaching, and scholarship. Without obtaining specific permission from the holders of the copyright. Fair use is generally granted for the purposes of comment, criticism.
All right. Okay, it's a delay. I'm looking at two different streams. I think I'm ahead of y'all. Okay. Also, shout out to the Thais report. Okay, because Thais gave me the 411 as well. He also has a short on his platform of which is a snippet of the video that recently went viral regarding Pastor Gooden and her husband, who was present as well. Thais, matter of fact, if you're still in the chat by the time I give my initial coverage, I would love for you to come up. I will drop the link for you to come up here and give your commentary as well, because I'm very curious to know what you think about all of this. So shout out to the Thais report, and make sure you guys subscribe to Thais, who is in the live stream as well, you guys, okay? So let's share my ordinance, even though I didn't even have to run a fair use, girl. This is my mentor stuff, okay? What's his is mine, and what's mine is mine, okay? That's how it works, child, okay? Hold on. All right. Let me straighten this out here, girl. Miss Ecam is a lot to deal with. Okay, so let's listen here, okay? And once again, this is the pianist or the guitarist who unplugged his stuff and hauled ass after Pastor Goodwin had asked him to stick around a little bit longer and play for her. He was not interested, even after she offered him $1,000 to wait around. He said it wasn't about the money. It was about him having big juicy titties to go home to, okay? He signed up, for only 2 songs, okay? But this black man here was on a mission, okay? Hormones was raging. He had grown folk things, heterosexual things to get into, okay? He was not about to miss his appointment, okay? He came here to juggle 2 things: music and titties. And he wasn't giving up both, okay? He wasn't going to let Pastor Gooden be a distraction to him, okay? So listen in to this, child.
Well, Adrian's already in queue. So let me take Adrian's call. Let me make sure everybody can hear everybody first, all right? All right. Okay, Adrian, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, let's make sure we can hear you. All right, hold on for a minute. I can hear you. We just want to make sure that you are heard really well in the audience. All right, so go ahead, Adrian. Tell us about that night. What happened?
Like I previously stated, the bass player reached out to me, and he asked if I could just play 2 songs, whatever. And he was like, we just play 2 songs and we can leave, just like that. I was like, okay, cool. And he was like, but you just make sure you bring your keyboard and stuff like that, because they didn't have any equipment, anything like that. So I was asking for information. We didn't even have a rehearsal or anything like that. So I was like, man, this is already kind of sketch, you know what I'm saying? But I told him I'd be there, you know what I'm saying? So I went there and I set my keyboard and stuff up. Like I said, I didn't even know what it was until I walked in there, and I seen a banner. And I'm like, okay, well, they got, tables and stuff, so it's like a lunch and stuff. I'm like, where's the food and stuff at? Like, I didn't know what type of event this was. So we started the event. We did our 2 songs, and once that got done, her husband came and introduced her, and she came up right after him. And before she even opened up her Bible, she went around, laying hands and stuff like that. And so I'm like, okay, we having church. I didn't know that. So I waited till she got back to her to the desk or podium or whatever the thing was, and she started giving protocol stuff like that. So I'm like, okay, cool. This is my time to go ahead and fade out. So I turned the keyboard down, and I just picked up my phone. I just picked my phone up. So she said, she looks over, she's like, excuse me, you can touch your girlfriend back later. Excuse me. And the audience like, a keyboard player. I'm like, what? So she was like, you got me? I said, no, ma'am, I do not. She's like, you got me, right? I said, no, I was here, just to play for one group and do the 2 songs, and that was it. She was like, oh no, you got me, because I paid for this. I was like, okay. She's like, what's your Cash App? I said, ma'am, I'm good. So she came over to the keyboard, and she put the mic down, and I was like, listen, I'm really not trying to embarrass you. I just only here for 2 songs, and that's it, So she's like, what'd she say? Oh yeah, I was only here for 2 songs.
she was like, so you good? I said, yeah, I'm good. Thank you, ma'am. So she walked off. So I'm gonna give you a grand, whatever. So I'm like, okay. So I packed my stuff up. Went downstairs and got to my car. I got home and I seen that she posted. I just had the most nasty encounter with this musician, whatever. He said he didn't want to play me, whatever. So I'm like, really? So all through the comments, you see people, he.
Hold on, can you guys hear this audio? I want to make sure you guys can hear. Can you guys hear the audio? Before we go any further, can you guys hear? I want to make sure you guys can hear this. Give me a 1 in the chat if you can hear the audio. I know it's a delay, so I'm gonna wait. It's low. Yeah, I mean, it's low because it's he's low in the video. So there's nothing I can do about that. It's really low, but yes, okay. Yeah, so he's low because when I was listening to it, I had to listen very closely because he was low when he called into the show. So you're gonna have to listen. I'm gonna recap it anyway, but just want to make sure you guys can just hear. Okay. Okay, well, if it's low, that means turn your nosy up, okay? Turn the nosy on your ears up, okay? Because y'all the same people who be listening through vents and water pipes when the married couple next door be arguing. Y'all the same folk who be listening through the chimney when the same gender-loving couple is on the rooftop having a domestic spat, okay? And y'all can recall every damn word, so don't come up in here acting like all of a sudden, honey. Acting like all of a sudden, girl, or all of a sudden it's low now, honey. All of a sudden your ears is saved, child. All of a sudden, baby, no other time when T is near in that proximity, baby, y'all get the damn superpowers of cats. Okay? Can hear the sound of vibrations and bats mating. Okay? So turn your nosy up, honey. Father God, help them out.
Out on a great blessing and stuff like that. I mean, I wasn't there for the whole service. I mean, I didn't know it was a service until I got there, or whatever it was. I was just there to play those 2 songs and that was it. So I didn't understand, why, they was coming at me for doing that. So, of course I shared it and I said, it's just the way you handle it. And you could have easily just brought your own band. So her husband commented on there. I forgot what he said though, but they both ended up blocking me and I just took the post down. So the next day I get a video sent to me. He said, she has a band playing in the background, and she sends us the band. I'm sorry, let me back up. She says for all the people that had came against you, whatever. She's like the musician that came against me, and she tells the band to play with her. So they start playing, and she's like, "That's how you played, Mr. Fields. That's how you played." I'm like, what? Really? So that was it. I can't get in contact with her. I asked for a meeting. My sister asked for a meeting. They blocked us. So, there's no way I can get in contact with her. I haven't even talked to the event host. I don't even know the event host. The only person I knew was the bass player that called me to be there. So, it's like nobody reached out to say anything, So, it's like, they just let me go on without saying anything. So, that's just my side.
Yeah, okay. Well, listen, man, thank you so much for trusting the platform to have this conversation, but let me ask you something. Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Okay. Why did you choose not to play for her?
Well, number one, I didn't know her. Number two, nobody said that I was supposed to play for a service. Like I said, I was only asked to play 2 songs, and that was it. Once she got up there and started, walking around laying hands and stuff, I was like, oh, okay, I was just taking, far back with that. Number 3, I'm going home. I did my 2 songs.
Mm-hmm. So the reason why you chose not to do it was because you had to go home. I want to ask you a question. I want to put no answer in your mouth, but I'm just wondering. Did you feel disrespected because the group left, you were left there and sort of stuck to play for the service? Did you feel disrespected, and is that something that has happened to you before?
Well, I didn't feel disrespected by the group. Like I said, the group don't know me. I don't know them. I was only called to play keys. And so I didn't even know if they left, to be quite honest with you. Like, I mean, I was only contracted to play keys. So, I mean, you know, it is what it is at that point. I felt disrespected, number one, when she said, you can text your girlfriend back later or whatever. I was like, well, you know, you could have came when you saw me set the keyboard, y'all could have asked me to play for you, whatever. Or, you know what I'm saying, you could have came before you walked up on the stage, because you walked right by the keyboard, you know what I'm saying? So you could have came right there and asked me to play for you. But I just felt like, you know, her doing that over the mic was just, you know, way too far. We could have just came and just, you know, talk to me to the side, like.
Okay. Because I thought it was something else, but I could feel when I was reading what happened and listening from both sides that there had to be. I felt as though you did feel you were disrespected. I didn't know it was initially when she first said something about the about Texas. I want to get the event planner on the line while you're on the line.
Ooh,
say something to you. In the chat. Let me see if I can find her.
Larry about to have the event planner call in. He done had the keyboardist call in. I mean, who we gonna have call in next? The damn woman's previous principal, her first grade teacher, call in too. Larry got the whole set on deck, baby. Okay, about to call her accountant, her personal physician, child, her chauffeur, her roof guy, her mechanic. About to get everybody on the line. Now, before he get them on the line, what the musician just said to y'all is that basically he was called there by somebody else to do a job, and he was told he only had to do 2 songs before he got home, before he was able to go home to Juicy Titties, okay? And why he didn't want to play for Pastor Gooden is because of the way that she addressed him, which was over the open microphone, okay? He felt like a hoe, and she was acting like a pimp, okay? He ain't appreciate her throwing money at him, doing this all over the intercom. He just didn't appreciate, okay, all them things. So, rightfully so, he stood up for himself, okay, and said, no, I ain't got you, okay, and you can keep your $1,000, okay? I got 1,000 ounces of breast meat to go home to. That's about to do me up real good. And all she had to do was pull him to the side and, have a adult exchange, instead of treating him like he was some damn nigga at the casino. Okay? So, and I'm going to be honest. I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at him discerning her ego and him standing up as a person who was being of service, because oftentimes people, the greatest amongst you are your servers. Your servers oftentimes are the ones who endure unnecessary disrespect as well. So I think it was a very interesting power move for him to reclaim his time and his fingers from the keyboard, okay? And, to do what needed to be done. He's standing on principle and not coin. That's also refreshing, okay? That you can't buy out everybody, okay? That everybody ain't willing to inconvenience themselves and ain't willing to lose sleep over $1, okay? But will turn down $1,000 in order to stand on principle, okay? Now, a lot of people will say that $1,000 ain't a lot of money, but baby, musicians don't make a lot of money half the time anyway, okay? I know people who make a few $100s, per session, okay? So whatever he already had got paid to be there, plus the $1,000, girl, that was a cute little takeaway, okay? But that wasn't gonna be enough, okay? Standing on principle instead of standing on the dollar. I ain't mad at it, okay? So let's hear from this event planner.
Appropriate later.
I don't see it. Okay. All right. Well, that's it. Thank you so much, Adrian, for telling us your side of the story, man.
Thank you, man.
All right. Take care. Caller ended in 4800. What's
Okay, so he started with callers. I don't think he was able to get the event planner on the line, okay? So that was that, okay? That situation went viral. The video went viral. There's a lot of conversation on Twitter. A lot of people were calling Miss Gooden out. A lot of people really sided with the musician, apparently. So that was that, okay? Then we hear from Miss Gooden again, okay? When this here situation goes viral, honey. And this is a flyer that was posted, okay, by... Nope, that ain't it. I'm still learning the software, child, so y'all just be patient with a nigga. Y'all be patient with a nigga, child. Let me see something. I don't even know how to... I don't even know what I'm doing. Safari, nope. It could all be so simple. Hold on. Oh God, technology, child. Sometimes she understands the assignment, and sometimes she is the damn assignment. Okay. Hold on, let me try something. Let me try to do something up in here. Let me try to get y'all together. When this here flyer was posted, okay? Let me see here. Okay, now let me try to share my stuff out one more time. Safari. Okay, now let me move my ass out the way. Good. Working on eCams like working OBS, child. Okay, so this flyer was posted, and it reads, to all in-house members of Unity Charlotte International, there will be an emergency meeting concerning the welfare of Unity Charlotte International immediately after Bible study on Wednesday, November 9th, 2022 in the sanctuary. And it is imperative that you are in attendance, okay? Now, for those of you who missed the video, which I also did not have queued up, we're going to run right on over, okay, to Larry Reid's Instagram, child, where you guys can see what that video was, okay, and why she ended up on Larry Reid's platform to start, okay? And make sure that you guys go and follow Larry on Instagram, okay? He has all the tea, honey, okay? You can also see the Taish report ass, okay? Being the first lady of Nosy First in God, 2 Corinthians, Baptist, Episcopal, New Baptist, New Gospel missionary for the kids and all the babies. Church of God. Okay. And there it is, girl. Okay. Now Larry captioned this video. Let me read it to you, girl. He captioned the video, I was sent this. Many times I've stated on my platform that pastors are abused, but it isn't discussed much. I've done a few shows on this, but those shows didn't go viral because a pastor wasn't being corrected or dragged. Watch what y'all think of what this pastor is saying, okay? Listen to her.
They use these leaders. You use them. If I turned them damn books over and you saw what I did for people, you wouldn't join another hate group. The same people that hate me, I wish you knew what I've done for them. Stop saying you love me because you don't. Stop it. If I told you the church lights get ready to be turned out, you wouldn't give one damn dime. Stop saying you love me. You don't even know what Car Chronicles has done for people. Stop saying you love these leaders. You don't. You use them. And if we wasn't so important, why the hell the government tell y'all you better call your probationer? Why does your doctor tell you call your probationer? Because we can't help you. You use your leaders. You use the church. You use them. That's what you do. I can tell you right now, I'm shutting the doors of Unity. How many of you will help? Not near one of you. You don't love me. You use me. They use these leaders. You use them. If I turn them damn books over and you saw what I did for people, You wouldn't join another hate group. The same people that hate me. I wish you knew what I've done for them. Stop saying you love me because you don't. Stop it.
Okay. Now, this was in response to the fact that allegedly the church is experiencing some financial hardships. Okay. There's trouble in the piggy bank. Okay. And it appears that Pastor Gooden was responding to haters. There definitely is someone who is, I guess, calling themselves trying to expose her. They've kind of dedicated a whole channel to trolling her, okay, and nitpicking at her and kind of dragging her, etc., okay. And that's why she mentions the hate groups, okay. And you know, she's defending herself in her name because, you know, she's considered angry and aggressive. And I didn't get too deep off into all the other things that are being alleged about her. Some people are calling her a small baby Whitehead, okay. Little sister, the little sister of Whitehead girl, okay. There's a lot of things allegedly, you know, that people are perceiving, and people also responded to this video here with their opinions about the way she is conveying her point. You guys know the church call themselves really conservative, okay, even though they be hiking they dress up too, okay, but we ain't gonna get into that, child. So Larry Reid had reached out to her and asked her for comment, and she gave him a nasty piece of interview. So we're going to listen to a little bit of this interview, and I'm going to give my thoughts, and then I'm going to drop the link and let you guys come up and sound off, and then it'll be on to the next one, okay?
There is not a leader that can come on here and say there's three sides to it, to every story. Yours, mine, and the truth. I think every leader has helped somebody. And when you have stood up as a leader and you brought correction, or you say you can't do that, there are people who don't like the word no, whether you're a pastor or not. Yeah. So we have become a bunch of spiritual spoiled brats. The Bible said that if you cannot receive correction, you're considered a what? Come on, Larry. You know your scripture.
Oh, you said if you cannot receive correction, you're considered what now?
A what? And none of his.
Oh,
Come. I know Pastor Jordan taught you. Come on.
No, Pastor Jordan.
Child, you know Larry don't know that verse, girl. He's a secular man of God, okay? Shout out to my mentor, Larry.
It's just my new mentor.
Who's never gonna teach you? You know the scripture. You know it. And so therefore, because the Bible says that you're master in none of his. Yeah. And so what you have to understand, we live in a society now where people, if they don't like what the leader said, then they can go to Facebook. They can hide their profile picture. They're now become very cowardly. And so you've helped people, you've paid car notes, you've done things, you've helped marriages. I speak to pastors who help marriages and lost their own marriages, got second mortgages on their home, suicide attempts. I had pastors who gave cars, gave rides to church. And the minute you say, I can't do that, they start slanderizing your name. True. There is a pastor's pain that nobody wants to address. And people have to understand that we are human too. We're human too. And it's not right for you to be in anybody's organization and not allow them to shepherd. Because if that was the case, you would shepherd. My husband and I shepherd in church, whether you like it or not. It's 1,000 people that come in there. Whether people like me or not, I pastor a mega church from my car or from sitting in a location where you had your drive time with me at 7:30. So therefore, until people sit in half of my seat or half of your seat or any other leader, they don't know. You can't reprimand me and you got 5 people sitting in your church, baby. Yeah. Yeah. So I'm saying let pastors have their place and understand that your pastor could be suicidal.
Absolutely.
especially during this pandemic. A lot of pastors don't even know how to recover.
Yeah.
They're at a sensitive situation. They're so sensitive now. And so the minute the pastors say, well, it's not in the church budget to help you like we used to.
Mm.
You can't do that to pastors. It's not right. There's a pastor's pain, and I think that the church needs to address it. Everybody's always talking about church hurt, church hurt, church hurt. But what about the pastor's pain? It's real.
Yeah.
I saw something on social media.
So I want to say this to the pastor's pain situation. Ugh. You know, obviously pastors are very human themselves. They have emotions. But I think what was like kind of rubbing people the wrong way was you cannot make an audience that you will argue God called you to serve and then be angry at the people that God called you to serve. People don't have to understand anything because nobody understood the mission when it was given to you to execute. In a way, I felt like this was misguided anger, and that who she should have been directing her frustrations and her feelings to ultimately was God, who I'm sure she's going to argue called her to the place, called her to the people. People can't understand something that they're not called to. And an officer is not going to be able to get civilians to understand his role. A fireman is not going to be able to get civilians to understand his role. President, etc. She's just not going to. And yes, there are definitely people who leech off the church, who take advantage of good people, pastors and churches, Christian folk, believers are not, you know, they're not immune to also having their kindness weaponized by leechers, moochers, takers, etc. However, if a pastor is becoming overwhelmed, I fully believe it's because that pastor is out of sync with God. Because your scriptures tell you that God does not place more on you than you can bear. So if you are bearing something that's damn near driving you to self-deletion and to suicidal ideation, that's driving you into a state of chaos, it's because you've chosen to pick up a load that God didn't ordain for you to pick up. A lot of times pastors think that just because they stepped into the role that they don't have to consult with God about everything after accepting the position. Even as a pastor, you need to consult with your boss. You got to go consult with your supervisor. That one. A lot of times pastors get in the spirit of being people pleasers because pastors are empaths too. That's why they feel called, a lot of them feel called to the position of helping people. It's a noble position. Like any other first responder, any other first responder role, any other humanitarian position. But pastors sometimes will conflate their people-pleasing capacity with the voice of God. And you have to discern between the two. Because if you rely on your people-pleasing, yes, you will run yourself into the ground thinking that it's God who's causing you to overwhelm and to love bomb people when that's not necessarily what God is telling you to do. That's what your empathic gift is telling you to do. But like the heart requires wisdom too. Because the heart is just a floodgate of love. It's just a floodgate of light. And if you operate from your heart chakra fully without no discernment, and you don't put it under the subjection of wisdom, then yes, your good-spirited, good-intended ass can end up driving yourself into demise in the name of trying to love your family, in the name of trying to be there for your kids, in the name of trying to maintain the marriage, in the name of the church, in the name of God, in the name of. And because you allow your people-pleasing empathic ability to just run amok, you turn around and then are angry at everybody else for doing to you what ultimately you've allowed them to. Takers are never going to feel sorry for receiving. You have to have that wisdom and that obedience and know to turn to God in your love. God is not going to tell you to love on everybody in the way that you love on them. God knows what each person around us needs, who is in need. And God is not going to instruct you to be there for them in the same capacity that you are this one and that one. Matter of fact, there's some people, because God is doing a certain work, is going to tell you not to even put your hand in it. But once again, for the empath, it becomes your heart versus the voice of God. Your heart always going to naturally say yes. That's why, once again, even the heart has to come under the obedience of spirit. And some of these ministers and pastors conflate the two, their heart and God, and think that their heart is God. And then when their heart overwhelms them and they're now on the verge of a heart attack, their own heart is attacking them because they're wilding out here with this wide open heart. Then they learn the hard way, unfortunately, and then that frustration and that anger causes them to believe that the people are the issue, and not to say the people aren't. But accountability always starts with self first and foremost. Because I can guarantee you that if you serve a loving God who you actually have the capacity and the talent and the gift to actually hear from, God would have not put you in a position to be considering self-deletion. That's not God. God would not put you in a position and cause you to endure in such a way that is bringing out the ugly in you. If you're wailing and wailing and frustrated and directing all of your feelings toward everybody else, that's because you put more on you than you can bear, not God. Not God. Just like a lot of people want to get married and choose their partners and then want to bring God into it after the fact. Had you consulted with God before the fact, you wouldn't need God after the fact about it. Once again, running with your heart first and then. No, you got to run with God and then. Run with spirit and then, and then, and then, and then, and then. God and then, spirit and then. Spirit and then all things. Let's continue to listen. Oh, I also want to make this point too. A lot of times why there can be a lack of empathy from the public when it comes to leaders, and not just church leaders, when it comes to all leaders, whether that's, pop stars, really famous people, etc., is because a lot of times leaders don't want to remind anybody that they're human until they've fallen short. But any other time, they don't mind being seen as a living God. Any other time, they don't mind being seen as immutable. Any other time, they don't mind being seen as intangible and in the glory. And then when it comes to, and then when the shortcomings happen, all of a sudden now, I'm human. A lot of leaders don't maintain that level of humanity even within their leadership. They want to personify almost a perfection and beyond reproach. They don't mind being on a pedestal in any other circumstance. And then it's not until they done cheated, or there's a divorce, or there's scandal, or there's etc. Now all of a sudden they want the congregation to perceive their humanity. Leaders need to operate in a humanity from the start. The only person that should ever be on a pedestal when it comes to the church is the Lord. The pastor also should be walking around like a peasant, not physically, but in terms of in their humanity. But you have a lot of haughty, worldly, religious leaders who believe that they're God's gift to mankind, who don't believe in shaking your hand or coming to your humbled home. And then when they're in need, they want to be a human being. No pastor, man, woman of God should feel like the church is about them, because it's not. Everything within the church is about the actual head, and that's the Christ. The Christ is the only one who has the right to hold their head high. Everybody else, prophets, pastors, ministers, the tambourine player, humbled. Because all of us are servants of the Most High. Servants. Even if you're the right-hand man, servant. Even if you're the prophet, servant. All of us are given one ultimate role under heaven, and that's servant. Therefore, everybody's humility should be on the same level, irregardless of the role you play in the body. But people allow roles and titles and positions to overinflate their ego and make them feel like they're more significant than what they are. Be a human from the start. Have a humanity from the beginning. Have a vulnerability and an honesty and a transparency from the jump. And I'm not saying that she's not that. I'm just speaking in general, because I don't know much about Pastor Gooden aside from the things that have went viral. But she's just saying things that are the striking thoughts. Okay? Ooh, wait, my witch's hat, baby. All right, let's get back into the things, child. And thumbs up, hold on. It's 400 of y'all in the building, and there's only 276 likes. We should be well into 350, 400 likes. Easily. Matter of fact, I gotta run to the restroom. So let's take a little small commercial break, and I'll give you guys time to thumbs up in the meantime. Okay? Be right back. And we are back like that. So, all right, good looking out on these likes, honey. We almost at 300 likes. Continue to thumbs up the video. Okay, let's get back into this little nasty piece of interview chat.
And for the pastor's anniversary, the church was empty. But when the pastor died, the church was full. So I've done the same thing you did. You just said before you got on here the stuff that you've done.
Yeah.
And those same people say Hosanna and say persecute them in the same breath. Yep. Nobody want to talk about that.
Yeah, that is it. Now, for those that would say, okay, I understand, Pastor, that you're a human. I understand what you were feeling in the life, but you're a pastor. You held to a higher standard.
And that's why they do it. Baby, that's why they do it. They do lead us like that because they say you're held to a higher standard. So I can bring you out of character. I can talk about you like a peg-leg dog. And because I know.
Okay, so, baby, she don't walk right into it, girl. I see that we're going to be making a lot of recesses, girl. About that whole bring you out of character. The only reason that a so-called woman or a man of God can be brought out of character is because they haven't died unto self like Christ told them to do. That's the reason why. When you have overcame the enemy, the inner me, the problematic me in me, the false self in me, nobody can bring you out of character. See, a lot of these religious leaders, a lot of these so-called believers don't actually operate in Christhood. Christ spoke a lot about dying unto self, killing, hanging the ego on the cross, hanging the false self on the cross. That's why he said to his disciples, when the principality of this world comes from me, he will find nothing in me. Christ did not make an excuse for low vibrational behavior and conduct and blame that on his humanity. The burden of being spiritual, and certainly the burden of being a leader, is for you to be set apart. Yes, you are supposed to be the exception to the rule. That's the burden you take on when you decide to play any leadership role. Because leadership is a choice, not a birthright. So you don't get to wild out and act a plum fool and all your niggerment over something you chose to do that you don't even have to be doing to begin with. You answered the call. And Spirit desires that you answer it accordingly. A lot of these people are not in Christ. That's why they fail at the things he accomplished. Because they don't walk in Christ. They walk in Paul. They walk in Moses. They walk every which or other way in the scriptures. But they don't walk in the practices, in the self-rebuking practices that Christ walked in, so that Christ could walk in alignment. That's what he taught to his disciples. That was his expectation out of his camp, out of those who called themselves being of him. Yes, you're supposed to be very set apart as a believer. When there's no difference between me and you, there's a mother problem. There's an issue. There's an issue when your ego and my ego look the same. Your anger and my anger look the same. Your cuss words and my cuss words match. And once again, these are the things you give up to represent Christ. Because you know who gets slandered in the process? Christ does. While these leaders are up here trying to defend their false self and to defend other people's perceptions of them, or when they're cutting the food, it's not them who suffer as much as they would have you believe. They're the ones in pain. Their reputations are coming under fire. It's actually Christ who gets messed up in the process. You don't have a self to defend. And if Pastor Gooden, along with any other pastor, actually died unto self every single day, there wouldn't be a I to defend. When Christ came under the subjection and the religious persecution of the legalistic religious system of his day, he let them hoes have it in silence because he knew that it wasn't his job to defend his name. It wasn't his job to make them feel better about who they believed he was. Whether he was of the devil or of the Lord. Whether he was an antagonist or a hero. He was very clear about the fact that what's in your head about me is your business, not mine. So if you feel the need to pick up a stone and to destroy me as a result of the figment of me and your imagination, then you do just that. Because you'll have to answer to the same person that I got to answer to when it's all said and done, baby. And not only have I died unto a false self, I've died unto death. Therefore, you can threaten me with none of it, baby. You want to kill this body? You want to destroy this self? Destroy it, honey. I'm clear about the fact that I'm an eternal being. I'm clear about the fact that I am divine, divinity wrapped in flesh. I am clear about the fact that this isn't my home to begin with. When I accepted Christ, I accepted transcendence over death. So hang me, boil me, jail me, persecute me. You don't have a me to destroy. And the only reason you want to destroy me is because you out of touch and actually believe that you are the you are. And you're not. You're out of alignment with the God in you. And that's why you cannot recognize nor perceive the God in me. But if you feel the need to destroy me to avoid the truth that I come bearing in, then once again, you do just that. Pain, suffering, agony, death, etc. Those are not things that will rock me as a believer. These leaders don't. My curiosity is, who are you defending? Because Pastor Gooden is supposed to be completely dissolved into the identity of Christ. There is supposed to be no her. What I did for everybody, what I did for the church, what I did for these people, that's exactly why these people have been able to stress you out to beginning. Because you've actually made this about you, and now you want Christ to get you out of what you got yourself into. It's already bad enough that your haters are operating out of their false self, which is why they're attacking you, but you out of touch enough to also be out of touch with the true you. And you're answering to a you that you know is not true. So then why not allow the truth to prevail? If no man truly has a heaven or a hell to put you in, what the hell are you defending to begin with? Not y'all calling out waist trainers, girl. Amazing. Let's get back to this interview.
You're supposed to be held at a higher standard. You won't attack me. You won't say nothing. I could throw a rock and hide my hand. You won't say nothing. The Bible says turn the other cheek. It ain't say which one. The Bible says this. And they throw you, they would take the scripture and ram it in your face just so they can hurt you. And unfortunately, there are leaders that's going home with that pain and they taking it. And they going home and they being mad at their daughters and mad at their sons. There are leaders that'll go and save their kids and lose theirs. There are many shepherds with lost sheep, and the lost sheep are their sons and daughters. And so they take that pain and that persecution that they get from the pews, and they go home and they can't comfort their spouses.
Yeah.
And they sit down and you hear how pastors are committing suicide.
I mean, this is going to sound pretty jaded, but they're out of order if that's their experience. They are out of order. And I'm gonna take it a little step further. Shit. If this is what leaders are coming to, they're out here preaching God, a God that delivers, a God that saves, a God that protects, a God that makes that you can always take shelter under, a God that will stand behind you when everyone else is behind you. But then the actual reality is they go home and turn into Ike Turner. Then what that really tells us, if all these things that Pastor Gooden is saying, and we know these things are to be true, then it means that most of these people who call themselves pastors and pastorettes and deacons and deaconess and ministers, they're doing this for their own good. It has nothing to do with God. It has nothing to do with God. You cannot justify being called to something you're going to claim God called you to, and then the reality is you go home and take out all your frustrations of your church family out on your biological one, out of your marital one. These are just not the things that God will lead you to. They're just not. God will not lead you to suicidal ideation. God would not have you do things in a way that will cause disruptions in your marriages and cause disruptions in the lives of your children. God does not lift up one thing just to destroy another ecosystem on the back end. That's usually how you know that it's not so much as God and it is you. When we strive to create from our egos, we create that disproportion. Because the ego cannot lift up anything to the east without offsetting something in the west. When spirit is in it, nobody takes an L who shouldn't be taking an L. There's balance in both directions when spirit is in it. When it ain't spirit in it and it's you, that's how you know it's you in it. Because every time you do this, that gets offset. Every time you do that, this gets offset. The only thing that can proportionately balance us and can take care and uphold all the things in our world simultaneously is spirit, which is what we have to be in alignment with, so that we're doing nothing but creating rather than destroying. So these pastors seem to me to be in it for themselves. They seem to be in it for the title, in it for the ego, in it for the narcissism, in it for the grandiosity and the adoration that comes, the emotional psychological gratification that comes with being perceived as good in your community. Because look, they're counterfeit good people. This is why Christ spoke against legalism. it's kind of very hard to tell people, like the genuine from the counterfeit, because technically they both can do the same thing. The so-called good person, the authentically loving person, well, the inauthentic loving person can act the same acts as the authentic lover does. They can say nice things. They can seem to make sacrifices and do things that appear selfless. This is why a lot of times the real and the fake, they end up in the same spaces as one another. Because anybody can perform good. Performance is a good thing. I mean, it's a performance. Goodness is a performance too. A lot of people are playing roles. A lot of narcissists are playing roles. Smoke and mirrors. Usually how you can tell at the end of the day is how a person, where a person directs their anger to. If at the end of the frustration it's all of you and it's only I who's the victim, that's how you can tell the real from the fake. Genuine loving people always do self-inventory. Matter of fact, they tend to avoid these pits of frustration because they are more discerning. They don't take on more than what they can bear, and they have enough humility in order to realize where they've went wrong and to do self-correcting rather than to demand that everybody else moves differently so that they can feel better. Because ultimately, salvation is a personal thing, and every man and woman must work it out for themselves. I can't require of you and you and you and you to backflip and cartwheel so that I can feel better. My job is to make me feel better. My job is to adjust and to adapt. And when I do that, there isn't anything else that you can do to make me feel away, because I've adjusted the part of me that was out of touch that allowed you to have that type of power and that type of impact on me. Now that I've shifted the part of me that you take advantage of, I don't have to ask you. I require nothing of you, because you won't be taking advantage of me from this point forward. It doesn't matter if you continue to stay on your bald-headed whole shit. Remain that way. It doesn't matter if you continue to attempt to use me. That's at best what it will be, is a attempt. And I didn't even have to consult with you in order to get you up off me. I had to consult with me to get you up off me. Now that I'm aware of what the dynamics are here and what's going on, and I've made the internal adjustment, I ain't got to ask anything of you all. I don't have to have a congressional hearing. And project those frustrations on to you, because who I'm ultimately frustrated with is me. And once I've been authentic enough and introspective enough to correct the part of me that needs to be corrected, then baby, continue on, honey. You ain't gotta change a damn thing. You know why you don't have to change a damn thing? Because I did. I changed the damn thing. I changed the damn thing in me. Me and you won't be having no more problems. Okay? So, yeah, hearing too much of this and not enough of this from Pastor Gooden. Pastor Gooden. And let me tell you another true sign of leadership. Well, people who have matured in leadership. True leaders, or mature, let me not say true. Mature leaders do not blame their humanity for their pitfalls as a leader. What mature leaders do is observe and review those weaknesses and those failures and then improve upon their leadership. They don't deflect from that by saying I'm human and then blaming you all for holding me accountable as a leader. That's very deflective. It's very emotionally immature. And it's out of order. One of the greatest virtues of a sound leader is their ability to take responsibility. I went wrong. I dropped the ball. Be man and woman enough to take ownership of that, to go into that data, and to improve upon your crown. You cannot grow and evolve as a person, as a leader, or in any space, in any genre, doing anything by deflecting and avoiding. You only can improve by being able to be honest about the way you contributed to the BS, the way that you contributed to the problem. Or else you will spend your whole life really believing that everybody else is the problem and holding everybody else accountable. And ironically, never holding yourself accountable. But then wonder why you keep attracting the same problems. And it's because there's definitely one common denominator, and that's you. That's you. And being wrong doesn't mean that you've done something evil. It just means you've missed the bullseye. That's what the definition of sin really is in the Bible. It's missing the mark. Doesn't mean you're a demon. Doesn't mean you are some evil individual because you were wrong in a situation or because you made a mistake in a situation. It just means you simply missed the mark. You wasn't precise and you wasn't accurate. You wasn't studious. You didn't pay attention. And that's all you need to do. No need to dwell. Just correct.
I spoke to a pastor that said, I was 11 months at a suicide attempt. Thank you for saying, I have more people for me than against me. The pastor's pain is real. So many people want to pacify the pew's pain. But what about the pulpits?
Yeah. And that's interesting to me that, I mean, I've always been a person to look at both sides. And I said in 2019, I remember when I was doing the platform, because every story I was doing about somebody that was done wrong by a pastor or something. And I made the mistake of turning my platform into, the voice of the victim. And I said this live. If you are LRLer in the chat, you remember this. I said, God told me clearly. You remember this, Kendall? I said, God told me clearly that she said, who told you that this platform was for the victim's voice to be heard? This platform is for the truth and for people to have a conversation about their truth.
Mm-hmm. Come on, Larry.
And so I'm glad that you came to talk to us, to tell us and remind us that pastors are human. It don't matter how heavy that anointing is on them. And I actually like your look. I didn't notice this till I pulled your picture. I said, oh, she got a sleeve like me.
I do. I'm gonna finish it too.
Amen.
I'm gonna finish it.
I love that. Since I have you here, when I first came into the realization of who you were, it was a video that went viral. It was a musician. I can't remember.
Okay, so I want to also say this, and then I'm gonna open up the link, honey. Hold on. Shout out to the 341 folk in the building. Maybe because, I consider myself a Christian mystic. So, within my mysticism is paganism. I use divination. I use elemental forces. I utilize stars, moons, etc. I scry into water to prophesy. I scry into flames. I cast spells. I do all of those things. I consult with angels. All of that, right? Because I'm such an earth-based person as well, I try to be perfectly balanced between the technological world and the natural world. But I'm also not sure. I haven't been able to resolve my feelings around how can I say this? Let me just I feel like Western Christianity pretty much got it all wrong. Like, just all of it. Like, just all of it. Like, their interpretation of God, their interpretation of Christ, the way they've interpreted the scriptures, what they think the church actually is. Like, there would be no building to have to struggle to pay rent and mortgage and water and electric for if you utilize the sanctuary that God gave the saints, which is the earth. You see, Christ didn't allow himself to be hindered by a temple or a mosque. He utilized the mountainside. He utilized the shore of the lake. He utilized the steps of the Capitol building. He utilized the oak tree. And guess what? If that's not good enough for some people, if people claim to love God but don't want a fellowship under an oak tree, or don't want a fellowship out in the wilderness, or don't want a fellowship out on a mountainside, then that lets you know that they ain't as interested as they proclaim. I honestly feel like Christians, the whole Church of Christ is supposed to be a complete personification of humility. I feel like Western Christianity has gotten way too fancy, way too spicy, way too glossy, way too, and now they've made this the standard. And there's no difference between the American dream and the Christian dream, to be honest. Believers want the same shit that Americans want. They want a big house. They want fancy cars. They want nice clothes. They want these things. Rather than wanting sound health care and a sound mind at most. Sound health care and a sound mind. Could live in a ditch if needed to. Could live in a straw house if needed to. Because that ain't what believers came to do. Believers came into the world to arouse the God in everybody else. They didn't come to participate, in the words of Lexi, in the buildings that we've made, in the cultures that we've created. Believers have come into the world to help the sleeping God and other people to become aware, so that you can have some balance between the bread of this world and the bread of the other. Even for Christ said, man cannot live off bread alone. Bread was a metaphor for the material plane. That if man identifies too strongly as man and identifies too strongly with materiality, identifies too strongly with identity politics, that we're all going to miss the mark. Because even though I'm aware that I am a same gender loving American male, melanated one, when it comes to my spirituality, none of that shit matters to me. When I go into my prayer closet, when I'm in my divinity bag, all of this is irrelevant. I am very clear about the fact that this here identity, what you see, what my government name is, my nationality, my ethnicity, are all things that are relevant to the earth plane. When I'm in my spiritual bag, I am spirit and spirit only. In my spirituality, I am not black, I am not male, I am not American, I am divine. Nothing more and nothing less. My spirituality affords me the luxury to back up off of all of this identity politicking. My spirituality affords me to release and to disconnect from all these things that these systems will say that I am, that have their place, but have their place in earth only. And you know what man have done as a result of identifying too strongly as a material being? Capitalism, elitism, the have and the have-nots, the social construct of race. All these things are given birth to. All these oppressive systems and divisive systems are created out of man eating bread and bread alone. We are spiritual beings having a earthly experience. Think of yourself as in a virtual simulation right now. Me and you are sim characters. Our higher self is sitting somewhere completely separated from this experience. The same way that it is when you're playing your PS4 or you're playing any virtual character on your phone or on a game console. Yes, you can control the character in the game and you have reasonable control over them, but you're not the actual character. You're not actually Mario. Even though you are directing his movements, even though you are orchestrating where he is, where he exists, what he does. But that the greater you is the one with the remote control. This is a virtual character. This self is not real in the way that we think it is. That's why there's no need to answer to your haters. It's unfortunate that Pastor Goodwin doesn't know it. She thinks that who she thinks she is, well, she's decided that the thing that her haters are persecuting is actually her. It's not. The people that are hurting you, the people who are betraying you, the people who are slandering you, the people that are talking shit about you, they're not talking shit about the real you, because if they were, to Pastor Gooden's point, they wouldn't be saying the things that they were saying, right? They wouldn't be talking about you the way that they are if they knew who you were. These people don't. And there is no real you to hurt. Each and every last single one of us are in the minds of other people is a figment of their imagination. This is why if I ask your mama about you, she'll say some lovely things. And if I ask an ex-girlfriend about you, she has a different story to tell. If I ask your superior about you, he'll give me one experience. If I ask your neighbor about you, they may have a slightly different experience. Because the only experience that me and you can have of each other is based upon our perception of each other. That's why you let people yabba dabba fucking do. Let them create all the goddamn hate groups they want to create. Let them talk as bad about you as they want to fucking talk about you. As your Savior said, just remember, when they go to hate you, remember, they hated me too. And salvation ain't about avoiding the cross. Salvation is about the strength to bear your cross. So pick up yours and follow me. And what makes that an easier journey is if you give them the you they believe you are, rather than being in resistance to it. Instead of being defensive to it, surrender. Because all that matters is that you're clear. They don't have to be. Your haters don't have to be clear about who you are. You clear. Let them have you. As my chair is wanting my hat. Okay? Let me see how long we've been here, girl. 40. I'm going to drop the link. Let some folk come up here. I think it's time for Christianity to revise some things. I think it's time for there to be another type of conversation amongst the Christian church. I think that the West has accidentally created a very watered down version of what it really means to be in Christhood. Matter of fact, I think the church has avoided Christhood altogether, to be honest. I just don't see Christ in it. I don't. I see capitalism, I see greed, I see ego, I see the material world. I don't see people who truly take refuge in God. I don't see, I'm more impressed by people who are unbothered than I am people who have to defend themselves all the time. Like, it's tiring. And I don't think that Pastor Gooden is a bad woman. I think that she's fierce. I think she's been through a lot. But I think a lot of her is in place of where Christ is supposed to be. And I don't think that's just true for her. I think it's true for a lot of leaders, that it's more of them than Christ. And I hope she hears this commentary and she takes that away. It's like, sit back and think about what you can take accountability for, and let change start there. It would have to for anything to change. Kicking people out, moving people around, cussing people out, even if they leave or you dispel them, it doesn't matter. The energy of self just recreates those people all over again. And you got the same problems amongst a new batch of niggas. Whole new batch. So, I'm going to open up StreamYard, actually. I'm going to let Larry play while I'm getting the StreamYard link. If you guys want to come up and sound off real quick, you got 20 minutes. So hit it. And more or less. Ooh. I know, baby. It's okay, sugar. Can y'all hear her in the background? Can y'all hear this in the background? Let me know if y'all can hear in the background. I'm about to get StreamYard together. Baby. Oochie wally wally, oochie bang bang. I gotta quit this. Hold on. They're acting they're acting like Gentiles. What, they acting like me, child? Oh damn, did you see? I'm a Gentile giving the gospel, okay? Okay. I'm a wild child giving the glory, okay? My God, today. Let me see here. Hold on. And thumbs up this video. Also got to shout out I've been getting some baby. Some people might not Girl, I gotta sign in. I thought I was already signed in on this computer, girl. Please check your email. What? Hold on. Oh my god. Baby, y'all throwing a collection plate, girl. Old nasty collection plate, yeah. Hold on, let me get in my email. Honey. Honey, because we're working. Hold on. I'm going to open up the StreamYard link so that you guys can pile in and sound off on your thoughts. But I definitely understand what she's saying. You know, but something that's really important for leaders to do, especially leaders, and really anybody that want to come up, like to whom much is given, much is required. Whether you're given more money, given more reach, given more influence, given more responsibility, something that has to happen that's very necessary for your sanity and your mental health is the more you take on, the more blessings you receive, or the more responsibility you take on, you have to counter that by deepening your self-care, your meditation and time with God. A lot of times leaders are taking on more, but they don't deepen their spiritual practices. And that's why their spirituality fails them. Not because it doesn't work, but because they're not matching and equalizing and deepening their practices in tandem with the increase in responsibility or more territory or more reach. You have to accommodate that wine skin that has new wine coming in. So however you was praying before the increase, double it with the leveling up. When you level up your prayer life, level up your fasting, level up your self-care. You got to level it up in tandem. Because if you leave self-care down here, if you leave spirituality down here, and you leveling, yeah, baby, the same people that you saw on the way up, you're going to be mad as hell at their ass, and you're going to see their ass on your way down. All right, I got into StreamYard, child. The nasty coiling line. Hold on. Now, for those of you who are going to hit the link, you won't be able to see the crowd, but people will be able to hear you. I'll be able to hear you, etc. So this would be equivalent to really like a call-in line, and all of that. Okay, so I'm going to drop the link, mods. Could you please rotate the link? Link. Okay, hold on. And if you guys have any contributions to the conversation, hit it and quit it, and then me and Reckless will return to you guys briefly with more riveting discussion. Okay, so this is the StreamYard link, and while you guys are doing that, make sure that you are subscribed and liking the mother loving video. Okay. All right. Can y'all hear me, Thais and Anya? All right. Welcome to the platform, the Thais Report. Happy to have you here. You guys make sure once again to subscribe to the Thais Report, okay? Over on YouTube, honey. Amazing content creator. Once again, he gave me the 411. Okay, that's how I got up here and did a halfway job with the story, honey, because Thais was in a damn Uber. He was with Trade. He was, air juggling, child, 50 million different things, and giving me the tea. So shout out to Thais. Welcome to the platform. What are your thoughts on Pastor Gooden's whole, her whole sentiment?
is. But the thing is that Pastor Jameliah Gooden, she has really, really shown everybody who she is. And there's two groups of people in this conversation, like with regards to religiosity and all that antiquated dogma. There's people that are comfortable with it, and there are people that see it for what it is. You know what I mean? So you either get it or you don't get it. And there are people that deal with it, and there are people that they don't deal with it. So she's been cutting up for a long time, you know, and I'm not marriage shaming anybody, but she's been married several times, and I think she settled on this new husband, number 3, and they seem to mesh really, really good. And but her whole approach to church and how members are supposed to show up, it's almost like, you know, I don't want to say a cult like, but it's like a membership. Like you got to really, really, really support. And if you don't support, it's almost like you ain't shit if you ain't supporting right. You know what I mean? So it gets to the point like, how is this inviting to people that may be thinking about finding a church home or, you know, coming back into the fold after the pandemic? How is your tone and the way you talk about matters of your financial instability? Because that's what this basically is about. You know, her church is in some type of financial free fall, and now they're scrambling. You know, so it's like I don't understand how this is welcoming people to come and see what you're about.
Well, let me
being like a gospel evangelist gangster.
Oh God, that tattoo sleeve, baby. It needs to be completed. Well, so then let me ask you this question then. So what would have been, in your opinion, the proper way for her to deal with the plight, the finances, the church, and her feeling and experience of church members who are just milking the pastor and wanting to do more taking than giving? Do you think that there's an argument there?
There's always an argument or a discussion that can be had about, you know, a two-way thing when it comes to support, right? There's always a conversation to be had. Are the members doing their part? Is the leadership doing their part? That's a conversation you have at a workshop. Get the members together. Y'all come in. Y'all talk about it on a Saturday or something, you know. But all of this just, you know, yelling at the top of your lungs and acting like Nino Brown, and I don't understand it. It makes no sense if you're trying to get people to, you know, see your point of view. Why not just come at it with, you know, with a different tone? Because at the end of the day, Conscious, what no one's really talking about is the fact that Carlton Pearson, Conscious, said that, you know, church as we know it is kind of like it's over, you know, after the pandemic. He said that on Larry Reid, and people are going to have to adjust in order to be viable, or, you know, in order to make it in this post-COVID world with regards to, you know, church, religion, whatever you want to call it. So nowadays, people are like, really, most of these videos, everybody is screaming and hooping and hollering because they know the gig is up. And all I'm saying is, y'all need to really come up with another financial plan, downsize, or y'all need to go and get a job to supplement your income, because the gig is up for a lot of churches. It really is.
Okay. One more question. God damn it. And I had it right there on the tip. Oh, her attention to her haters. Do you think that it's appropriate for leaders to address their haters, especially in the way that Pastor Gooden did, with the level of energy and vitriol that she had there? Do you think that do you think that Christ would have done the same thing?
Now listen, I'm not being shady. I can be shady, but she's not like on a level of, say, a Juanita Bynum. Like, lady, who are your haters? Who are you talking about? Like, she has a church in Charlotte, and, you know, she has a little following on social media. But ma'am, who are you talking about that's hating on you like that?
I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna be honest. I had I guess because I had typed her name in on YouTube, stuff started showing up on my homepage. And there does seem to be, I don't know if this is what she's talking about, but there definitely is at least one page on YouTube that is like dedicated to kind of like, you know, kind of like
She does have, and someone, and then someone left a comment last night, and then Larry addressed it live on the air. She does have people. I don't know whether she was in a bad relationship with, you know, financial relationship, or is a, you know, bad relationship with a former member. But there are people that just, you know, they lay into her online. But she's making it seem like, you know, like she's Cardi B or like, lady, ma'am, it's not that serious, you know, and you're making it worse. You're making it worse by talking about it the way you talk about it. Like, I'm from Brooklyn and I'm a gangster. Okay, ma'am, how are you in spirituality? How are you in church business talking about you a gangster from Brooklyn? That makes people, you know, come after you more if there are trolls and people that don't like you, you know?
Yeah, it does.
It's crazy. It's crazy. I just wish they would really get the point that things have changed. Folks are not getting in those $1,000 lines no more, Conscious. They're not.
Yeah.
And that kind of income is not coming in right now for people. People are not sowing $5,000 in the $2,000 line. Those days are gone. So they're going to have to downsize. If you got a 50,000 square feet church, you need to come down to maybe a 10,000 square, whatever the square footage is, you know. And if you don't have a lot of members, maybe y'all need to meet at Golden Corral or Denny's or something. I don't know, but y'all got to get with the program. The gig is up.
Yeah, it's true. It's truth is true. The gig is definitely up. The church is, no pun intended, going through a reformation. I mean, this is definitely a time of deconstructing and a time of this is the construction period of the church. Everything is definitely digital now. Larry even prophesied this years ago. He told the church to get ready. Soon as Carisha 19 started happening, he said, "Look, y'all need to start converting your physical churches into digital ones now. Like there's been a shift, and this shift isn't going to let up. This is a whole new era that we're going to be entering in." And a lot of people, I guess, did not prepare for that, and now they're having to take out second mortgages and, you know, sell their children into cattle slavery just to maintain the church's roof. And it's an interesting ego death for those who have been a part of that culture for a long time, and they're scared of what's to come. They don't know anything outside of what the church has been. So I'm sure that there's fear and worry and just ignorance, but like you said, things are changing nonetheless. So people have to figure it out. Last question: is Pastor like? What is your attitude about Pastor Gooden in general?
I mean, I didn't really know her like that until the scandal. And the way a lot of people didn't see the video because that video has disappeared all of a sudden, right?
It is.
So a lot of people haven't seen that video. But the video really was bad, the way she approached a young musician. And you covered it really, really great earlier. Okay. So I didn't really know of the lady until that scandal, you know? I think I saw one video, you know, she sits in her car and she yells really, really loud and tells everybody, you need to sow a seed to be blessed, right? You got to sow a seed in order for you to activate this harvest. That's her thing. But I didn't really know her like that until that scandal with that young man. And that young man, what happened to him, it really turned out to be a blessing for him, Conscious, because a lot of people really, a lot of musicians really was glad that conversation came up, because they're like, the people in the church that get the least amount of respect, the musicians, and you can't operate in the black church without the musicians. So it's like they should be the most respected, the musicians, you know. So musicians rallied around him, and you know, people, he put his cash app up, and people really blessed that young man. They really did.
Yeah, he stood up on principle, and even I appreciated that. Because we're living in an era where there's been so much disproportionate power, dynamics between those so-called in power and those who work under that power. So for him to stand up for himself and to demand a certain level of decorum and energy as it relates to the way that you deal with him. I was like, man, this is the type of protesting we need in this current society in every way, shape, or form when it comes to our government, when it comes to the workplace experience. Because the reality is there is more of us, aka the worker bees, than there are those so-called in power. So they can have nothing without us being complicit, without our participation. So I just wish that we the people would take more power back into our hands and trust in ourselves in that way, and support each other in that protest against disrespect, whether that disrespect is psychological, emotional, in principle, etc. It was quite lovely. And I could even see, even in the interview with Larry, that Miss Mama definitely had, like, she definitely has a strong sense of self. Like, she could not convince me that she has died unto self, because that just does not convey and come across to me.
And her energy, and I'm not trying to act like I'm a sage or anything, but her energy is basically, it seems like she has a lot of unhealed trauma and a lot of bad energy from the past. Yeah. And because she's just too amped up. It's like she drank 2 Red Bulls and then had a cup of coffee. You know, it's like, bro.
She would say it's because she tired. She said, I'm tired. People need to recognize that the church. People need to recognize that pastors got feelings too.
Okay, well, she needs to get into nursing, or she needs to be a Walmart greeter or something, because, girl, this is not for you if you can't take the fact that your church is dwindling down and the buckets are light now. Them buckets are not as full as they used to be, and you have to come to terms with that. Maybe you can get into nursing, or, you know, work down at the mall or something to supplement your income, but them $1,000 lines and $2,000 seeds are not going to be popping off right now, not in this economy.
Baby.
Well, and before I go, and I'm gonna head back to the chat, Conscious.
Yes.
The only reason people can operate like that and talk like that is because there are people that don't find that offensive and abrasive, right? Yes. The only reason Juanita Bynum can ask for $1,499 to teach you how to pray is because there's somebody out there that will pay it and not even think twice about it.
Absolutely.
So these people operate like this because there is a whole body of people that don't find this crazy.
Yeah. You're right. I mean, Bishop Blackhead is another prime example. I mean, like, look at the fact that he's the only one who's living as fancy as he is. I mean, after all, it was only him and his wife that were robbed because nobody else even had anything to take.
Exactly.
You know, so
if she's listening, if you're listening, Sister Gooden, honey, all I can tell you is, you know, get ready to probably put that church on the market, or if y'all need to sell it or lease it out, you know, rent it out on the weekend, turn it into a club or something. You seem to be very, you know, gangster, you know, rent it out for maybe a bar mitzvah or repasses on the weekend to bring in some extra income.
I'm gonna add this to what you're saying, Thais. I think we are also, I think we're not only seeing the death of this version of the church, but I think we're also honestly seeing the death of leadership in terms of it being isolated into one person. I fully believe that the age of Aquarius and the way that the divine feminine is moving in this age, it's literally requiring every person to literally work out their own salvation and to rise to the occasion. I think the reason why we are going to continue to be disappointed in, because if you hear the echoing, it's, you know, who's going to be the leader of the black community? You know, where are the leaders in the church? Who's going to be? I think Spirit is removing this concept of one man or one woman leading the way. That Spirit is now calling all of us to step up to the plate. It's no longer on this one or that one. It's on each of us to contribute equally and fully in the capacity in which we can to the world that we want to create. And now that responsibility is falling on the laps of each household rather than one specific person called to that role. So I think that we're going to continue to see a collapse in those who try to be a individual leader. We're already seeing our politicians fall under scandal. They can't do it. We've seen that they're corrupted. They're falling short. Church leaders are falling short. Hip hop is falling short. Like, we're seeing that people trying to singularly and individually do it, it's not helping, and it's not working because it's not supposed to. The formula in this age is us, not you, but us. So in a way, I can see what she's saying too, because she's experiencing that. She's experiencing the me. But to your point, it sounds like you think that this has nothing to do with feeling alone, but more so just misguided frustration because she has a failing church. And
Right,
she's
and
just
the
mad
thing
at
about it
everybody.
is that what happens, conscious, is people get very, very complacent, and they get very, very comfortable with the numbers and going through the books, and everything is fine. And then when it all falls apart, nobody really wants to do anything proactive until the wheels fall off. Like, I remember back in the day, it was nothing, to put together a fish fry for the church. And yes, that food was high as hell. But we raised the money we needed to keep the church afloat. They would give you like a leg, maybe a thigh, a half a scoop of potato salad, some green beans, a roll, and a little Shasta soda, and it was like $60. But it kept the church afloat.
Yeah. Yeah.
But they're not gonna do that in today. They're not gonna do that in today's time. They're not gonna. That's beneath this new leadership. They're not fit to have no chili cheese dog sales and French fries and stuff. No,
Girl, that's way too humble, girl.
that's beneath them. They're not gonna have no car washes, none of that.
Child, they get to selling them canned goods and taking them all down there to the Piggly Wiggly and converting that stuff into pennies and pennies into dollars, child, because it's going to take that. But in a way, I would think that leaders would be relieved that they have an opportunity to have a digital community, because first of all, it's much more financially feasible to pay for a website or a domain rather than a mortgage or rent on an actual property, and you're able to garner more of an audience by going digital because you're able to reach and hold space for people all over the world to join your ministry versus isolating it to, the local people. So I would think that leaders would be excited about this transition because I mean, it's more in it, really, if you really think about it, than not.
But the wheels have already fell off, and they know that. That's why they call that emergency meeting on the 9th. That's the reason why Amazon is the super thing that it is today, because nobody got the memo. JCPenney, Sears, all of those stores, they all went out of business. Payless, they didn't understand it. Amazon understood and tweaked it and got it together and threw all of those girls out of business. So if you don't change with the times, and that also includes, being inclusive in your doctrine, you're not going to make it. And you're not, because the pandemic was really the great equalizer as far as breaking things up, dismantling some things. A lot of people never went back to the church conscious after the pandemic was over. Some people were like, basically, they saw like, I ain't been to church in 2 years. I ain't paid no tithes in 2 years. I ain't done none of that stuff. And God still made a way, still healed my body. I still got, my health and strength. And I haven't really been participating in none of the practices of organized religion. Yeah. So a lot of people had like wake-up calls during, after the pandemic. And a lot of people they didn't return to the status quo of religiosity.
Yeah. Yeah. And church attendance was already on the decline anyway because of millennials. Millennials don't mess with conventional religion. Millennials are more on the spiritual tip, on the yoga tip, on the self and God tip versus organized religion tip. So there was already a massive decrease in church attendance anyway. Like this, I think our parents are kind of like the last of the dying breed. Like they're probably the last of it in terms of conventional church.
Well, I'll say this as I take my seat. Sister Gooden, you need to go up there to Costco or Buy Low and get you a big case of them leg quarters and some French fries. And y'all need to start frying that stuff up. Because, honey, listen, that's the only thing I can suggest. Get you some leg quarters, maybe some potato salad or something, and sell them for like $25 a plate. Maybe that'll bring out some, some revenue in. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe some fish, some whiting or some tilapia, some hush puppies.
Baby.
I'm just saying, thank you, Conscious, for allowing me to come on and be on your platform. I always have fun here. But those are the options. Either that or she could, because her look gives me funeral home vibe. She really should look into mortuary sciences and stuff like that. She really looks like the people that meet you at the door at the mortuary and tell you which room the body in. So she should look into that seriously. It would be a really great alternative to ministry, I think.
Either that or she can easily contend as the up and coming queen of rap, because she was giving me very much so a Remy Ma vibes.
Very rock digger, Remy Ma. Yep.
Gonna be very much so Seether vibes. So she might have a long awaited career in hip hop or in mortuary science, as you stated. Thank you for being here, Thais. Make sure you guys subscribe.
I'm going back to the chat.
Okay, babes. You guys make sure y'all subscribe to the official Thais report, babe. Okay, it is always an experience, and the tea is always piping hot. Let me welcome my baby mother Anya to the platform. Welcome, Anya. Can you hear me, love?
I can hear you.
Hi.
Hey, Conscious.
What are your thoughts on Miss Pastor Gooden and her frustration with selfish, stingy ass churchgoers and haters?
Okay, so first I want to start off by saying I really wish that mental health was made mandatory, like going to the doctor and getting them, a physical or any or something, because we see that these people have literally become unhinged, unraveled. They're not able. It's not just them, because even for me too, like clearly there is some, like, the stresses of the world or whatever that energy is. It's like, it's taking over people, and they don't know how to really live in that. They don't know how to operate in that, in a positive way. So I do honestly say, wait a minute, can you hear echo?
No, I do hear some static, but we can push through. I don't hear echo, but there is like a little bit of static going on.
Okay, so that's something that needs to be done ASAP, like make that mandatory so that people, like get thoughts out or whatever it is, frustration, and they don't have to get on a public platform and like literally lose their mind and then get upset with people for having an opinion for what they're putting out there. That's the purpose of social media, to be social. You're putting stuff out there so people can comment, on it. That's the first thing. Now, Pastor Jalila, I would say Jalila or Jamila, she don't never use her last name.
Oh, okay.
So
I apologize, Pastor Gooden.
Yeah, her.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So I feel like she's failing herself and failing the purpose that she's proclaiming that Christ has placed on her life. I see that this lady does have a following, and I feel like she needs to live her truth. People attract certain energies to themselves. So I understand the people that are attracted to her because something about her also dwells within them. But she's missing the opportunity to really, really help these people as a leader by transforming herself. To me, this is a teachable moment, not just for the congregants or parishioners, but also for herself. Any great leader would understand that the first and most important thing in being a leader is to be an example. And she's not giving out the example that needs to be given out.
So you think her approach was all wrong? So you're saying that her approach was all wrong?
Her approach is completely wrong. I believe that church hurt is not just subject to the parishioners. I believe church hurt is for everyone that is in that, you know what I'm saying, within that church or whatever, how you want to say it. It doesn't just affect the congregant. It, you know, the pendulum swings both ways.
Yeah.
But your intention for why you're having these rants has absolutely really nothing to do with church hurt. You're upset because your wants is not your need, because God always provides. He always provides our needs. Your wants are not being met. And you're angry. And every time you don't get your way, you act out in anger. She has not once, for the both times that she's gone viral, it has been because she's gone off on a rant, a tantrum. Every time. So for me, you're not genuinely upset because, as you say, like, she's out here by herself, she's sticking her neck out, you know, she's about to drown, nobody's reaching out to help pull her back. It's none of that. It's simply because you have set your lifestyle up off of the backs of other people, and now they refuse to meet your wants because they can't. Third thing I wanted to say is that she really exposed herself in more ways than one. That woman was telling everybody that she goes home and abuses her family. Allegedly. That's basically what she was telling us as well. She gets mad at the people at the church that don't give her the money, and she goes home and she takes it out on her family.
And she said a lot of leaders do that.
And they do.
I know that a lot of everyday people do that. A lot of men do that.
I was going to say a lot of those. It is just not the males either, because listen, it really is a domino effect.
It's the mamas too. I had a mama who used to do the same thing. She took out a lot of frustrations, you know, on her marriage, out on me and my brother. Not physically, but you know, she was just very, at times, emotionally removed and very defensive and hurt, and she wasn't approachable or available in ways that we needed her at times, because, you know, she was frustrated with a marriage. She was frustrated with, you know, being in a disproportionate marriage. You know, my stepdad wasn't shit at that time, so she was doing, you know, a two-person job as one individual and having to carry his end too, for a very, very, very long time, for years. And it definitely, you know, and sometimes her place for that frustration, or where that frustration would show up, was with us, you know, and we wouldn't have anything to do in it, you know, just being very short patient, being very quick tempered, you know, and it came with the frustrations of some of her dynamics. So yeah, it happens in both sexes, and it happens on this level too.
It don't just be the men beat up, you know, the women, the mothers do it to the, you know, it's like it goes from the, you know, the pulpit, and it trickles down. You're sitting there under a dogmatic religion that literally beats you up. I know I've been in services where, I mean, from the time the preacher got up to the pulpit, I felt like I was getting a whooping.
Yeah.
And I have gotten up and walked out because I don't feel like I should sit through anything like that. I have literally gotten up, removed myself, because I'm confrontational. I don't care who you are. I don't care if it's 1,000, 500. If you put my lips on your mouth up there at that mic, and you call yourself preaching on me in a way that is degrading to me, a way that is abusive to me, oh yeah, I'm definitely calling you. I would stand up. I have done it. I have had the cops called on me. I don't play that. You're not going to disrespect me because you feel like you're in a place. I'm not putting you in a place of authority over me. I'm coming to you for guidance, but I don't put you in a place of authority over me.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's just my opinion with her. She just, to me, she's a round the way girl from the hood. Typical. That's what her whole look is. I don't have a problem with her look or whatever. It's her aggression. It's her narcissism. Like you hit the nail on the head when you said she and Black are just like they operate in the same energy.
Very strong sense of self. Very much so.
Yep.
Big ego, big energy. Yeah. Can you hear me, love?
No, I said I'm going on mute.
Okay, boo. Thank you for that, Anya. That was Miss Anya, you guys. Rashonda. Welcome to the platform, love. Hey.
How you doing?
I am awesome. How are you doing?
I am wonderful. I'm excited.
Amen.
The thing is, what I've been seeing with everything, first of all, we all need each other.
Absolutely.
We all connected in some kind of way. You can't go into church and act like you're more than this person just because you want to be seen or you want to be known. You see what I'm saying? You know, you can't shun a person who's cleaning versus somebody who's playing a piano. We all are God's children, and we all have a role as servants in the Lord. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So people need to understand. You can't single out one person and say, well, I don't like this person or I don't like this person. Because at some point you're gonna need those people. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
It's like everybody has these titles and I'm better than you. And then the thing about it, everybody's forgetting about God.
Yeah.
They taking God out of everything. And you can't bully nobody to go to God. That has to be a relationship. Meaning you got to get to know God for yourself personally. You just can't go and go on what somebody said, because they could be telling you a lie. You see what I'm saying? So
yeah,
you have to get to know God for yourself and know who you are in the Lord. Strength comes from the Lord. And something else, Conscious. Don't you know, when I go out, people can see that light that I have. I mean, what I'm saying is, you have to start with yourself.
Yes.
You have to start with yourself. Get to know you, work on you, get you together. I had to literally sit with myself and call out the things that I was doing wrong in order to grow and to be a better person. If you don't work on you first, you can't help anybody else. And we all need each other. We all got a day to live. We all got a day to die. In between it, we supposed to be doing something to inspire, help people, and do stuff.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
I do.
It's like it's too much. How can I say? It's too many people that think they're better than everybody else, and we all are one in God.
Yeah.
So my thing is, folks need to get off their high horse, or else God will do it for them and make them understand. Hey, we all in this together.
Yeah.
We so busy just judging folks for who they are. Oh, this person can do this better than me. This person can do that better than me. It doesn't make any sense when we all got a day to die, just like we got a day to live.
Yeah, for sure.
So, what are you going to do in between that? Are you going to be hateful all your life and then die?
Yeah.
Or are you going to make a change to better this world so people can have something to look forward down the line? You see what I'm saying? You want to leave a legacy, a good one.
For sure. And hold that thought real quick, Rashonda. Hold that thought. A shout out to my baby mother, A Gift and a Curse podcast. Make sure you guys support Baby Mama over on A Gift and a Podcast and A Gift and a Curse Podcast too. The backup channel, okay? Baby Mama got herself into a little bit of YouTube jail, child. But she got the backup page popping, girl. Okay, so make sure you guys go over and give A Gift and a Curse Podcast a subscription, as well as A Gift and a Curse Podcast 2 a subscription as well. Now, Andre Washington just stated, "You're not a pastor, woman. You was never called to pastor." So, Andre, are you speaking to Pastor Gooden? And while he has that up there, let me ask you, Rashonda, how do you feel about female leadership in the church? Do you believe that women don't have a place in the pulpit, or do you think that women do?
I think it's a role, but you have to. It steps to being with that role. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It's like you just can't up and say, "Okay, I'm a pastor. Okay, I think I'm gonna do this today." You literally have to be called by God in order to do these things. And you know that you can't stir people away from God just because you feel a certain way.
So you don't believe that God cares about the gender or sex of a person,
right?
Okay.
Because he can speak through anybody.
Mm-hmm.
He can speak through a fool.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? It all depends on what you take from it. You can learn something from everybody. That don't mean they a pastor. They don't mean they call to God. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It's just like what you said.
Andre, hit the link. Andre, hit the link and come up here and give your perspective. The StreamYard link is in the chat. Come up here and share your thoughts on women not having leadership roles in the church. Okay, go ahead, Bill.
Yeah, that's just like, they say women don't supposed to wear pants. Women don't supposed to be makeup. You know what I'm saying? That don't stop God from blessing you or doing something for you just because you do those things. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. I agree. I agree with that.
She's echoing in the background. I'm sorry, but she got to turn her TV down because it's echoing. That's all I'm saying.
It's echoing.
It must be only you hearing that echo, Emily, because nobody else is experiencing that echo.
No, I hear.
Can you hear me now?
It may be just on StreamYard.
Is Rashonda echoing?
I hear the echo too.
I'm getting ready to say, I better not be the only person hearing this.
Because I don't hear an echo on my end. Let me see if the view.
She's echoing.
Hold on.
Let me see if I can turn it down a little bit.
It actually might. I probably have to mute myself for it not to echo, because the share probably works the way that it does on StreamYard. Whereas, and if you don't mute, you hear the echo. But let me ask the viewers in the chat: do you guys hear echo? The chat doesn't hear echo. It's only y'all who hear the echo for some reason in the back.
Oh, so okay.
Y'all are gonna have to push through, unfortunately, because I don't know how to resolve that.
I apologize, y'all.
But thank you. But thank you for the talking points, Rashonda. I'm gonna get to Emily as well as get to D-Rock as well. But you can stay around. Because we're gonna circle back around. I love you too, Boo, and thank you for being here. Amazing talking points. Emily, welcome to the chat. Welcome to the discussion. Your thoughts on Pastor Gooden and her frustrations and her potty mouth.
I feel like she was using a legitimate excuse for her own selfish needs. Because there are some pastors who are in pain There are some good pastors out there who don't steal from the people and try to do right. But she was coming from a different place. She was coming from a different place. And she frustrated. Like a lot of these other pastors is because the money ain't coming in no more. And like, I'm offended because not for nothing, you ain't been seeing me around lately in these streets because I had to pick up a second job.
Oh shit. I got my desk way too close. Yes, it's hitting all of my rings.
I thought I had power for a minute.
No. So you had to pick up a second job, yes.
I had to pick up a second job. Yeah. Because of inflation. And the rent. And groceries.
Yeah.
Eggs are almost $7.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. And you mad?
I spent $200 on I spent $200 on groceries, and that was only for 57 items.
Exactly. They didn't even put a dent in it. And for me, I have a gluten allergy. So imagine my bill.
Wow.
And what exactly. I had to pick up a second job. It's like I didn't have no choice. So, like, for her to be mad because ain't nobody donating to the little kingdom you trying to build, not the kingdom, but your kingdom, you got some nerve. Because you should see the needs of your people first. And not for nothing, if you ain't Rockefeller, you struggling. Period. So your parishioners are struggling. And that's what you need to focus on. Let them give their 10%, whatever God requires, and leave it alone and let God do the rest. But you're not going to hound me on no freaking building fund when eggs are $7.
She better get like us, baby, and become influencers, honey. She better become digital real quick.
For real. Or like Thais said, good old job.
That part too.
Everybody get a job. People want to be rich, but don't nobody want to work.
But could you imagine that though? So let's play devil's advocate then, because you brought up a point, but to her point, I guess that fear is really real because these pastors grew up in an era where they gave their life to the church. So the church is their job. If the church is going extinct and these people have spent all of their time in pastoral roles, that means that they probably don't even have any notable skills for the competitive job market that is there. So
but there are still plenty of jobs that you can get without that skill set.
I mean, of course. But is there any compassion to have toward the pastors who are, I mean, because, you know,
in pain and hurting? Absolutely. I said that when I said that contest in the beginning. I said she used a legitimate excuse for her own personal gain. That's manipulation.
Y'all are really not feeling Pastor Gooden.
I'm not. No, I'm not, because these bills is real. The first of the month is coming soon.
Well, how do you feel about how do you feel about the pastor saying, what about my bills? What about my pain? What about my loneliness? What about my needs? What about me?
Okay, your bills. Okay, the thing with your bills is that you got to be a good steward with what you got, just like the rest of us. We for real. Like that's real talk. All that money you had coming in, you wasn't paying your bills all that time? Or was you just using our money to do it? So
y'all just want Pastor Gooden to get a job and get over it.
I don't want her to get a job. I want her to stop complaining about what people giving when we all struggling out here. It's real. It's so real out here. It is so real. Like when I tell you it's real conscious, it's real. And I live in New Jersey, one of the most expensive states outside of California and New York to live in.
The bigger question, I think, for the church is, what has the church brought to the table that should be worth the fight? What has to, that would be my question for those who are adamant about the existence of church as we know it to be, religion as it stands, is what at this point, because I do understand historically that church offered things emotionally, psychologically, even physically, such as in the civil rights era, church wasn't just church. It was also a place where you could galvanize and talk about the way to improve communities. It's where Black Panthers could galvanize. It's where discussions around community outreach and the economy from oppression and abuse, despite it being a remixed version that was given to us by our oppressors, we still used it as a way to dump as much of our trauma into. But at this current time, religion ain't hitting on shit. What is it? What is the tangible, measurable impact and benefit of church today? What is it contributing to? Oh Lord, y'all! I done got kicked out of StreamYard, child. Hold on, let me get myself back in here. Let me get myself back in here. Okay, I'm back. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Yeah, so that would be my question is, what is there worth saving? What is the church bringing to the table? Because the church definitely aren't creating Black billionaires. The church definitely isn't educating African people.
Not educating folk like they.
Yeah, it's definitely not educating African people on who they are and where they come from and what the real history is and where we are to go now in terms of the collective. It still also is in the business of oppressing minority people, Black queer people, Black trans people.
Black women.
Black women. Yeah, it's still a patriarchal. It's still a patriarchal space that operates in the oppression of women and the feminine virtue, as you just said, Emily. So it's very, very interesting in terms of all of that. So, but last thoughts, Emily, so I can get to D-Rock and then to Montreal.
I don't really have any last thoughts.
Except that Pastor Gooden need to get a damn job and stop.
My thing is, don't you hear from God? You hear from God, right? Why is the money drying up? Did He give you a word for that? Did He speak to you about that? Oh yeah, okay.
Oh, that's a good point, Emily.
Don't get me started.
All these connected folks. That's a good point. But thank you for that, baby mother.
You're welcome, baby father.
Yes. Welcome to the platform, D-Rock. I know you are a church boy, and I can only imagine what your thoughts are. But what are your thoughts on Pastor Gooden and her frustration with users and abusers within the church and having haters?
Yes, absolutely. I might as well have been born on the pew. I mean, I grew up in church all of my life, been a long time member of a few different churches, and it's something about like one of the churches, the last church I was a member of, or my family was a member of. It was very much, outreach, community, all of that, but then at some point it shifted. It started turning into, where's your money? Where's your money? I don't care about the love. I mean, I literally heard my pastor say from the pulpit, it ain't about if you love me or not. I want your money. I want your money. and but just because a pastor is called, just because a person is called to pastor or be an evangelist or whatever, prophet, whatever, it doesn't mean that they don't have to maintain that position. Like there's a saying that your gift will make room for you, but only your character will keep you there. So you're always having to work on your character, like maintaining a godly posture. And with this lady, I don't know who she is. I just saw the video, and but it came off to me kind of a proud victim. It came off pretty narcissistic. I'm gonna just be honest. Like it came off narcissistic, very egotistical. And I wouldn't let. I'm sorry, I wouldn't let her lead me to a water fountain. I just wouldn't go to her church. I wouldn't even want to hear nothing she has to say. And that's nothing against her personally because I don't know her. But just based on that alone, I mean, you're the main thing you're there to do is win souls. That's what they say. You're supposed to be winning souls. So what is all of this complaining and talking about? What is all this victimhood? You know, it's not supposed to be all about you. It's about the people you're serving. That's what ministry means, serving. And I like conscious that you brought up. Oh, I'm glad that you spoke to that. The idea of these leaders, these spiritual leaders, they have this like grandiose persona. Many of them, most of them. And it's always like, okay, like they use that verse in the Bible that says, "Believe the prophet, and so shall you prosper." They tell you to obey. You got to obey everything they say. If you don't, you're in rebellion. It's all of it. Like everything is about, I'm above you. Listen to me. Follow me. But then when they end up falling into sin, or having a scandal or something, then it's all about, well, you shouldn't have been following me anyway. You're supposed to follow Christ. You know, so it's like they flip the script.
Or I'm human too.
I'm
that's
just
what they say.
a man.
Yes. Yes, exactly. That's the first thing they go to. I'm human just like you. Well, that's not the message that we've been getting for 20 years from you. Like we've always been getting that you're above me and I gotta listen
God,
to you and obey
and
you.
you the vessel, and you the truth, and you is the prophet, and
the mouthpiece.
Nobody can rebuke you, and death unto them, and power, and
Yep. And I also like that you also brought up what is the church doing for us? Like what are they actually doing? Because I live in the area, I'm in Florida, and the hood is known for having like 10 churches on one block.
Yeah.
It's so many.
It's more churches in the community than there are police departments. There are more churches in the community than social service facilities. There are more churches in the community than there are mental health facilities and centers.
Absolutely. Yeah, but it's the most rundown, drug infested, AIDS infested area. It's like, so what are y'all actually doing on this congregation because they didn't buy him a Rolex or something like that? And he was rebuking his whole congregation because.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, that's what it's giving. It's kind of giving that.
Or look at how Bishop Rolex or Bishop Bling Bling or Bishop Whitehead Blackhead has a whole property that's for low income people, and yet these people have to brush their teeth in fucking
they don't even have hot water.
These people have to brush their teeth in Arizona buckets and don't even have an escape and don't even have an escape whatchamacallit, like have rats, roaches, asbestos in the wall, and yet not only is the place run down, and I mean I call it the Jeffrey Dahmer estate, but on top of that, got the unmitigated ashy audacity to double the damn rent.
That's just crazy.
Now these are the men and women of God. These are the leaders.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, and you know, actually, the church got a reputation. Church people, they got a reputation. Like even when it comes to like when you go to restaurants, like I remember a pastor talking about this. He said when he went into this city, and he went to a restaurant, and he said the waiters, when he was ministering to the waiters, he said they have a thing against Christians. They say, "Oh no, the Christians are coming."
Oh, shit!
Because they're the most rude. They're the cheapest. They want the most
today.
for nothing.
Yeah, they won't tip. Mm-hmm.
My God, today.
They're right on the receipt. Jesus paid it all. You know. But it's just crazy. And even when you said trying to think it was something else
I was preaching so good up in here, Chad. I was preaching so good. It was so much good.
Yes, it was good. The American dream, yes. When you say the church dream is just no different from the American dream. That is so true. I've noticed that for many years. It's like, but when you go to like foreign countries, when you go to like where people are really being evangelists, like there's people facing real persecution, like getting their heads chopped off, like
those people literally dying in the name of Christ,
yes,
like
dying
people
for the gospel. Yes, and then we got people in America. You know, their persecution is you didn't buy me a watch this week. You know, it's just a skew.
The end of the world for these Christians is Lil Nas X kissing a man on stage.
Yeah,
that's their biggest inconvenience and hardship.
Right.
is all these gay men getting married is their biggest headache. Wow, the luxury of it all. The luxury.
That is the church under attack. The devil is busy. You know, that is their persecution. And wow. Yeah, they don't the American church is like they have a very skewed perception of what it means to die to Christ, what it means to pick up your cross, you know, pick up your cross and carry it.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's like it's very materialistic, and like you said, it's like, you know, I never known Jesus to been all out of shape for a temple.
Oh, so I'm so glad you said that.
He turned up in the temple because they was begging for money. And that's why a lot of these the pastors think that they can turn up too, because they can find it in the scriptures as well. But I wanted to say this too. Speaking of Jesus and money, Jesus was a strategist, and see, this is why Christianity is going to have they're going to have to get them some power, like some real power. They're going to have to really be able to really display God to the people. They're going to have to be able to bring that into the veil. And the one thing that Jesus did as a strategist is, for one, not only was he a well-trained metaphysician who took time to literally develop a supernatural skill set, which is why he left the scriptures for so long and then re-entered to start his ministry. And when he did, he was able to come back and give sight to the blind, to give hearing to the deaf, in order to give life to the dead. And something that he coupled with his ability to demonstrate metaphysics is he chose wealthy men to impress and to change the lives of. If you notice his disciples, he chose fishermen. Fishermen were considered the wealthy of their day. These were men who were revered. They had property. They had transportation. That was a huge market. Okay, he chose treasurers and lawyers. He chose noble men who had resources, and because he chose to change the lives of men who had financial equity, he was able, for the most part, to have a free-flowing ministry. He didn't have to demand finances out of the people, because who was sponsoring him were men with money. So if these new Christians actually had the ability to, first and foremost, display and personify God, like to literally bring the power of God into the earth plane, and if they would do that, do you know how? Look, there are men, businessmen and women, who do the stock market, who have astrologers on
payroll to help them to navigate when to do their bidding, when to pull out, etc., based upon those metaphysical things. If there are people who have palm readers, wealthy people who have palm readers and personal psychics on their payroll for this, I don't understand. The church wouldn't have to rip. The general was able to change the life of Donald Trump spiritually. If they were able to bring God, if they were able to bring God directly into the space of a president or of a governor or of a millionaire or a billionaire, these people would fund these people ministries alone. These people would then you won't have to ask your congregation for a $65 million private jet, because you already done impressed upon the life of a man who have access to travel, who have access to private jets. Jesus was literally, people have to study the scriptures in a way. Jesus was literally a strategist. He chose the disciples he did for a reason. He funded his whole ministry off of all of his initial disciples. So he didn't have to ask the blind man for money before he healed him. He didn't have to ask the deaf man for money before he healed him. He didn't have to ask the people for money to raise Lazarus. But see, the church can't rely upon that because they don't have no fucking power. There's nothing. They talk a good game, but they bear no receipts of the God that they claim.
Yeah, because
give me like a fish.
I hear somebody.
Hold on, I think
that's
Montreal. He got a background situation. Yes, go ahead.
But so what is the difference? So what do you think? Because that's what Paula White thinks she's doing. That's what I think. That's the whole idea by being an advisor to Donald Trump. And
he keeps unmuting himself.
Nah, it's me. That's accident. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead, D-Rock.
Yeah. So, question to you. You just said that about like how the church should be. Leaders should be strategists and all of that. So do you think that is what Paula White is doing by being a spiritual advisor to Trump, or being a partner to him?
I can't say because I don't know much about her. I don't know much about her ministry. I've never discerned her, so I don't follow her enough to know. Okay. No,
that ain't what she's doing. I'll answer it.
I can't speak to that, but
that's not what she's doing, Rob.
Yeah, I knew the answer. Yeah, I just wanted to see where. Yeah. I don't think so either.
But my question is, hold on. My question is, what has came out of her proximity to Trump? Like what? I mean, what? Like the proximity to the clout should bear fruit. What has been the fruit of her proximity to him?
Not a damn thing.
Nothing.
That's what I was going to say. Mm-hmm. The spirit, there's light spirit and dark spirits. So, when we say the spirit, she could be operating in dark spirit. And we see what he brought, what he helped open to expose, because he had a purpose, what I'm saying? And even though the intent was to be for our evil, it was, it all worked in our favor because truths began to unravel that we've already seen, but it was put out there like there was no veils, there was nothing, it was just out there, something they could no longer deny, so her purpose, she just may be the spiritual advisor. It's just what spirit is, is she working through?
Right. Exactly. And I brought her up because that's an example.
Is Paula White the same mayonnaise hoe who talked about the angels in Africa? And all that?
Yes.
Speaking in all kind of whatever she's
all the way wrong. She's
trying to bring the angels over from Nigeria and from Antarctica and wherever.
And still lost the damn election.
Mm-hmm.
After she done called black angels from Africa.
Mm-hmm.
To come intervene, so
because exactly like the young lady was just saying, it depends on it matters what spirit you're of, like what spirits are you dealing with.
Yeah.
Your spiritual advisor, but what spirit is your source.
That's one thing people don't understand. People like, okay, yes, if I could say it in a church way, yes, we know the devil has power. He has just, power, the same kind of power that God has. I mean, well, not God, but Jesus and all that. So we know that he operates just as well. I mean, right now, there's more dark than there is light right now in this earth. But that doesn't mean that light does not prevail. Everything has its timing and it has its season. So for me, it's like, okay, there's a purpose, and you just go through the purpose and things will manifest themselves over, to the white, the white light will always, shine bright and it will drown out the darkness. I just see that with the church and these leaders, I'm gonna be very honest, they're self-destructing because they will not evolve. They just refuse to evolve. They got lazy and content. I didn't mean to,
holding
I just want
on
get
to
back
an
to the
old
main thing.
pattern.
Like, they have not evolved. And anytime a person stays stagnant, everybody else is the problem. It's never them.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that is so
I gotta
true.
round this up, so I'm gonna get to Montreal. Before I get to Montreal, I'm gonna ask y'all a question before I wrap fully up. Montreal, can you hear me? Rico, Montreal Brown, you're on mute. If you can, okay, there you go. Can you hear me?
Let me see.
Yeah, you hit it once. Okay, there you go. Keep it right there. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right. Welcome to the platform. Your thoughts?
Yeah, my thoughts about the preachers these days. I know a lot of times we always face so many battles against the pastors. Cause one thing I know about when I was raised in the church, a lot of time when I was younger, I didn't even know that Christianity is always like it used to be. Cause I know a lot of times, how people were victims of pedophilia, because I was one. Because sometimes we as men, we don't even tell our own truth about we were victims of this kind of stuff. So, cause a lot of time we get caught up join different ministries. So only thing I would say is that most of our preachers right now living in times that most of our preachers they just don't leave well alone. And then most of the time preachers always nonsense, they always get involved with prosperity because sometimes they don't leave people to the light. They always put them in darkness because it's been so much.
Hold on for a minute.
What they up to. So I think about.
Hold on for 1 second. Hold on for 1 second. Rico, hold on for a second.
So stressful.
It's a lot of feedback. Y'all in the background can hear all of that, but the viewers can't. But I'm also complete with all of you guys because I'm about to round this up anyway. So I want to thank y'all for being here. I'm gonna finish off with Rico and complete the show. So thank you, Emily, and thank you, Anya, baby mom. Oh, Rumors and Tea on Instagram. Follow Rumors and Tea on Instagram. That's Anya's blog page on Instagram, honey. Keep it with all the latest tea, okay? Rico, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Yes, I totally agree with you that men have definitely been quiet and silent about a lot of the abuse they've experienced, and we're still living in a time where men are uncomfortable with that conversation. Can you hear me?
And then a lot of time for us is that people always have been favored the female are being abused, but people don't say about us. When we hear about Kevin Samuels' death, it's always been inspirational for a lot of us. And a lot of times people don't be advocating for us because people busy choosing females over us. And when we run our mouth about homosexuality, so this year it always proves that some of us have issues against our female. Female had issues with us. That's why we deal with sexism wars since so many decades, years, and generations to come. People talk about generations curses, but it is generational, lot of generational. So it has been this way for decades and decades. And then when we talk about elections, it's been loose by Democrats and Republicans. It's just that politics sometimes show us that there's no power of forgiveness anymore, unless if you have positive forgiveness and negatively forgiveness. So don't, when we heard about Joe Biden legalize forgiveness loan, it don't have to do with loan, got to do with property. But if unforgiveness were illegal for other people, most unforgiving people would say, okay, let's put us incarcerated, let's put us in jail, in prison. And then people don't have no program for us to go to because they basically want to punish everybody. People always talk about defund the police, but it won't do anything but make everybody feel so aggressive and more grufful than ever. Because all this riot stuff, some of these stuff, not but this distraction. It's all this is about. So at the time when we hear about people 5 months into on social media stuff, it's all this stuff, none but distraction. It's all this is about. And when it brings a lot of distraction, we hear about most of our celebrities wind up play mommy, dad to underage children. We hear the same thing about A-Law and T.D. James. And the reason why they don't want to target non-convicted felons because they feel that they were worthless against them. So every time if people were convicted felons, they let them say whatever they want to say. But every time people don't have prior anything, that's why we hear about Michelle Laus, the scandal about T.D. James. And a lot of times T.D. James and his family were involved with the scandal with Michelle Laus, and none of us don't want to talk about her. Yes, Michelle Laus did talk to Tasha K and the rest of them, but and you got Tariq what has said to Michelle Laus that Tasha K and others would manipulate what Tasha K did. It's just her. With Love and Peace, we Mama Simone did. It's just them. But we have to understand that churchiality were involved with a scandal worse than YouTubers ever done. So most were fake preachers and were true preachers. The rabbis will say, okay, they were involved with adoption of the children in the ministry. That way they can play mommy, dad, the children. And when we hear about on Bad Bones, when we know him as Chosen King of Power Called G2G family, say that glory to God stuff, talk about pedophilia could be legalized in the United States of America. If that would happen, it says bestiality, even polygamy.
Yes.
If everything is legal in the marriage, most our females would marry male to male and males married to female. So a lot of stuff have people say it would be a mess. It's always be a lot of stuff going on. So we experience that a lot of stuff that's happened because we always wonder that it's happening. Because I know most YouTubers talk about how irresponsible most our males are, but our females act the same way that we were. So it's been not just a message to negativity process what can happen. So it just like it was amazing. But when we see Michelle out angry, we see that it's always a lot of unforgiveness going on. It's just that church reality pushed the limit of that can happen. Yes, they preach about forgiveness for so long, but they don't realize that most forgiveness ain't free to anybody unless people have to pay for it. People put a price tag on it, but nobody else don't want to pay the price. We deal with handouts, people don't want to deal with hand-ins.
Yeah.
That's all this is about. We got raunchy stuff.
I agree, Rico, and I want to thank you for that, boo. I definitely got to get up out of here, but I agree, honey. I think what Rico is saying in short is that it's all about love, you guys. Okay, there has to be forgiveness going in all directions, and everybody just got to come together and support each other and stop with these distractions. And I like what Rico said about churchianity. That is what has replaced Christianity, is churchianity. That's where a lot of the problems are. Love that. Shout out to you, Rico. Mouthful there. I have to get out of here, you guys. I was not supposed to be here this long. I knew this conversation would get like this. But to Pastor Gooden, I don't know. You know, I don't get a menacing feeling from Pastor Gooden, but Pastor Gooden, like a lot of other leaders, you know, y'all probably need to have a long talk with Jesus. He'll talk to you about your heart, you know. Christ didn't allow himself to get this frustrated with users because he was aware that there were that you do not catch your pearl unto. Okay, but you had to be discerning to know who was swine from who not. Okay, so once again, walking in that Christhood, when you walk into that Christhood and you got the discernment of the Holy Ghost and you got the wisdom and the knowledge of the Holy Spirit in you, as it comes to the way you delegate amongst your family and your children and your friends and etc. When we're operating in the Holy Spirit will never lead us wrong. We're walking in alignment with the Spirit. But if we walk in our empathy, oh yeah, we'll get towed up out this bitch. I was one of those people. I am a recovering mad-ass empath. I am a mad-ass empath in recovery. I can identify with the good ends of the world. I'm an empath too. And I was mad as hell for being in disproportionate relationships. Hospitals attract sick people. That's what empaths are. Empaths have a large capacity to give. That's why they attract very profound users. People who need a lot have to take a lot. And empaths have a lot to give. That's why I gave that whole conversation about empathy. When we just operate from the heart raw, yeah, it'll lead you to your destruction. Good intentions also pave the way to hell. To your personal hell. Your wide open, unwise heart, well intended and as beautiful as it is, will lead you to the road of your personal hell. Even your heart needs wisdom. Your heart has to come under subjection and obedience. That's probably a whole nother conversation, but that's why I wanted to really talk about this, because I know I'll be able to get into touching on that. I understand the plight of Pastor Gooden. I understand where her pain and her frustration, her annoyance comes from. And also I can sympathize with the fact that life is changing for a lot of men and women of her generation who were employed by the church, you know, and have dedicated their lives to this and now have to think about what their future is. Is it working in McDonald's somewhere? Is it working in some administrative office? I know that's that's something that everyday people don't give a fuck about, you know, but these people's livelihood. I understand, you know, there's fear there, there's ignorance there, but the Christian church, particularly the Black Christian church, need to have a big conversation around leadership and the priority of Christ. Because I think if we understood what that really is, that Christ thing, and got in touch with that Christ thing, not to hell with the rest of the Bible, that Christ thing is the blood of it. There's a lot of information that Christ gave for someone who wasn't a man of many words. Lots of Christ's practices and the way Christ did things If you observe it inward and outwardly, a lot of the keys to personal resolve and personal satisfaction and inner balance, it's in that. It's in the teachings of Christ. You just have to be interested in that. But people be trying to have Christ and everything else in the Bible. There's a lot of shit in the Bible that's man-made, that's outdated, that's antiquated, that's falsely understood. Christ has been the only thing in the Bible that, for the most part, the teachings have remained simplistic, straight to, and very tangible. Leaders need that. So shout out to the church. Times are definitely transitioning. This is the time now to definitely consider the digital church. That's where it's really at. And to improve upon the message. And once again, to whom much is given, much is required. Heavy is the head that wears the crown. As you become somebody who's given more responsibility, as your money increase, as your dynamics increase, please increase your spirituality, increase your time, your self-care. You need that. As Christ would say, you have to empty out old wine to accommodate new wine. 8 ounce isn't going to be sustainable for this gallon. If I want to pour a gallon into you and you only got a 4 ounce, 8 ounce cup, it's going to be catastrophic. Gotta accommodate it. You gotta level up. This has to be proportionate to your earthly good and responsibilities and priorities and commitments. If you take on more commitments, but you allow this right here, I keep hitting this damn desk, but you allow this right here to remain the same. If you don't expand this while you expanding all this, oh yeah, this will not serve you. I don't care how much of God you got up in this little bit. You got to draw closer and closer and closer and closer and closer and closer as you increase. You got to draw closer. Closer in, baby. You got to bring it on in. Okay? So I got to get out of here. Thumbs up the video. Shout out to my contributors. Let me make sure that because I had got some more donations during the show. I'm hungry as hell. So I think I'm going to refresh myself, child. Okay. Shout out to Miss Gotti, okay? Shout out to Miss Gotti. And once again, shout out to baby mother Shaw and Deanna and Kiwana and Crystal and Beryl. Thank you guys so much. God bless you all. You guys know all email and social media handlers are in the description box below. Shout out to the moderators for holding it down. Subscribe if you're new here. And shout out to Pastor Goodwin. To Gooden. I hope that she gets... I hope she gets the resolve she needs and everything works out well. Seemed like to be a well-meaning woman. And shout out to Larry Reid for the exclusive and the T-Child and to the Taish reports. I will catch you guys later. Peace.